Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rainer Stop Showtime, covering the futurity at the North American Reining Stakes. My name is Chelsea Sutton, and today your host is Rainer Stop founder Shelley Bryan, joined by expert NRHA judges Jody Brainerd and Brian Dygert. Saddle up, it's showtime.
Good afternoon and welcome to Rainer Stop Showtime. My name is Shelley Bryan and I am joined today with my co-host Chelsea Sutton on the mic, who you will hear throughout today's streaming, as well as these two gentlemen next to me here, our expert panel. Now, together, Chelsea and I strive to bring you relevant and timely topics with the goal of increasing integrity as well as transparency within the industry. We do this two ways. First is our Rainer Stop TV, which are weekly podcast episodes that we host on Rainer Stop Facebook page, where we bring together experts for thoughtful discussions, whether it's industry related, training, health related, all the topics, and a lot of them are derived from our audience, you, our Rainer Stop Nation. Now, second is today what we have Rainer Stop Showtime. Now, Rainer Stop Showtime is where ESPN Sports Center meets horsepower. It's digital, it's entertaining, and it's highly educational, helping you understand the complexities of judging a reining pattern through the judge's mind. Now, there's one thing that we absolutely love and encourage here at Rainer Stop, and that's audience interaction. So today, whether you are joining us on YouTube, Facebook, or on RainerStop.com, you have the ability to ask questions, and we want you to do that. Right now, we have 70 years, right next to me, 70 years of judges' experience, and they are ready to answer your questions. Now, speaking of the 70 years next to me, I have Mr. Brian Dygert, who has been a judge for over 35 years. He has been a past NRHA president, part of the help create the judges monitor role, so might have a few tidbits of information to share with us today. And then next to him is Mr. Jody Brainerd. So Jody, as well, being a horse trainer and a horseman, he has been a judges monitor, judges instructor, as well as having his card for over 35 years. So together, over 70 years of judges experience. Today, we have some amazing competition that we are going to comment on. And we are covering the Open Futurity at the North American Reining Stakes, which was held at the World Equestrian Center, which, from what we see, is an amazing facility. Now, we are going to review the top 10 rides, as well as 5 additional rides with great discussion points, as well as teaching opportunities. So a total of 15 runs today. We're going to run 5 horses per set and then have a dragon review where you are not going to want to miss out. Now, the dragon reviews is where the teaching happens. It's going to be happening the whole time, but it's definitely going to be happening during those points. And I want to let you know, if you were on our last Showtime covering the Reining by the Bay, we love audience interaction so much. We have some amazing giveaways from our sponsor. So you are going to want to make sure that you are commenting in and staying tuned. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into today's competition. Futurity horses.
Yes.
Some of these horses, it's their first time in the show pen. Jody, what are your thoughts on, bringing the 3-year-olds out and this time of year, everything that comes with it?
Oh, we've had some discussion about this, and I think some of the, Brian and I talk about this constantly, and we get into it a little bit more. The horsepower has changed so much than the way we used to do it, with the horses we used to have. I mean, we always thought that a July or an August futurity was way super early, but these colts are so mature and so trainable and so big and so strong that, I mean, they look like, I told Brian, we looked at a few of these and I said they look like December horses. I mean, they do, and it's 90 days away from that or more. So I still think that 3-year-old pressure needs to be limited, but I mean, it's just personal opinion, So I think that, perhaps at a show of this caliber, Europe has always had the 4-year-old futurities, and people have tried to do that in the States, and I think we're so conditioned and these horses are so good that the 3-year-old year is when they start, right? It's kind of like the racehorses, so I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But I believe that perhaps, we've had some discussion about maybe those 4-year-olds need to be separated now from the Derby horses. Give them a little more of a chance, and maybe the 3-year-olds don't receive quite as much pressure that way. So just a thought.
And, as the industry is growing and the horsepower is growing, it gives more options, right?
Sure.
So I know that we might dive into this subject a little bit more later down the road, in post-show, but definitely the 3-year-old pressure, I heard you say, what's your thoughts on that, especially with this much money on the line?
Right, it's significant. And no matter, you can have people tell you that, well, we're going to try and go. There is no easy reining anymore. There is no such thing as an easy reining. And anytime you're going to pay $10,000 or $15,000 to win an event, guys are going to come riding them. It's what they want. So the pressure it's significant. Like I said, that the horsepower has improved a lot. The pedigrees, the breeding, the sports medicine has helped. We don't see sore horses anymore like we used to. Guys, just the nature of the beast with us, horses would travel short. They would, lope short behind, and you could tell that they'd be a little off even from a judge's standpoint. We don't see that anymore. Yep. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, Brian, one thing that was interesting that we saw at this horse show, right, and I'd like to get your perspective from a judge's point of view, is, we saw horses in a 2-handed snaffle, 2-handed bridle, and 1-handed bridle, right? So all the options were available to the exhibitors during this event. As a judge, how do you take that or do you take that into consideration?
Yes, you have to take it into consideration. So you don't have a choice. You have to take it into consideration. I think your question goes directly into the one that Jody was just talking about. And the 3-year-olds, how do we help our industry build 3-year-olds better? Take the pressure off the purses. We have a lot of choices. The answer to your question is when you have 3 different levels of competition in the same competition, that is a very difficult set of circumstances. So is it time to look at it differently? I would say yes, it is. And the point is, if we want to ride them 2-handed in a snaffle or a hackamore and build those 3-year-olds and give them showtime and experience, then let's do that. And then if you want to have a 1-handed, competition futurity in September and October, then let's do that, so that all of that leads to the fall of their premier 3-year-old year. And so we have choices now that we didn't have in our time.
Do you look at a horse that comes in, say, 2-handed in a bridle versus 1-hand in a bridle, as a judge, if all things else are equal as far as the maneuver, does that change?
Yes, it
Explain
changes.
a little bit of that.
It's called degree of difficulty.
Okay.
But a finished reining horse is a 1-handed control game. It was that way on purpose because of what the cowboy had to do.
Yes.
He always had to do something else with his other hand. So him and his partner, it was a 1-handed function. That is what it's all about. So that's ultimately where you're going. So yes, when you now have today's competition, 2-handed is not as difficult as 1-handed. That's true.
I sure love showing 2-handed. I'm not going to lie, so I get it. Jody, did you have something else to add?
No, I think that's. I agree wholeheartedly. We talk about this all the time. If we have 2 identical maneuvers, and guys can cheat an inside bridle rein with 1 hand too, but we also see that. Okay, so we take that into consideration. If I have 2 identical maneuvers, and the horses are doing exactly the same thing, one guy's in 1 hand and one guy's in 2 hands, and even if that inside bridle rein is slight, it's it's impossible to put them in the same box. We only have the half-point increments to work with, and we still pay, but it's just not the same.
It's
just hard.
Right? And it truly is not the same.
Very
right?
It's not the same,
Yeah.
and we're making it harder. And that's a good thing. So now we as an industry have to address that part. Because we all want fair playing fields.
Absolutely.
That's what we're talking about. Because now you're talking about not a fair playing field when you have 2 hands in a full bridle, 2 hands in a snaffle, and 1 hand on a full bridle. Those are not the same. They're not fair. It's time.
It's almost like 3 separate classes.
Could be. Something to think about.
Something to wait on. Yeah.
Right.
Sure, absolutely.
No, I think that this is a really interesting discussion. Go ahead.
Well, if we were showing together and I'm 2-handed and he's 1-handed, he's going to tell me all day. Doesn't matter what I marked, he still whooped me. So it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's fair game, right?
Yes,
you should do a little smack talk, and I like it.
And he's right.
Yeah, well,
like it.
That's what it is. But yeah, it's hard, and it's hard to judge.
It
is hard to judge.
And I think that, today's arena really produced some uniqueness to the competition, I believe, because at the World Equestrian Center, this arena was, full size, we're talking 250 by 500, which is the largest arena. The ends were cut off, used for other purposes. So still, it is a very wide arena, which I think we're going to see today didn't pose challenges, but differences, right? It's different to be able to evaluate.
It is different. So the patterns are going to lay out, exhibitors are going to show different. A wider arena is going to have effect on all of those things.
Yeah.
Yes, they all have the same, but it is different.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Good. Well, I'm excited to get into today's competition, and I hope you are too. Now, as we get started, again, wherever you are, we have our team here at Rainer Stop monitoring the chats. So as your questions or comments are coming in, please keep them coming. Don't worry, we're going to try and get to them. And when we have the chance to actually teach live, so I'll be watching these questions, and if I know that we're going to review something, I'll bring that question up at the review so we actually have footage to be able for both gentlemen to be able to teach you based upon that question. And I want to tell you, there is no bad question. And I promise, if you have that question, someone else watching today does too. And I do want to ask everybody, as you are on right now, let us know in the chat where you are tuning in from. Rainer Stop is a global phenomenon, and we are so excited. I know, Chelsea, we had received an email from South Africa already this morning. We have a huge Australian, Canada, as well as Mexico, South America. We are so excited to be able to bring this type of entertainment and education globally and digitally. So please make sure that you are tuning in. Now, I do want to say before we get started, Rainer Stop here, we are third party, so we are not affiliated with any associations, and we are not judging the events. Our experts are providing expertise and knowledge based upon the competition that is set in front, so that you as the exhibitor, whether you are maybe a spectator, brand new to the sport, or a spouse, like my husband, learning about reining can make it so much more fun than sitting there and waiting, right? We all have that hurry up and wait horse show, right? So now you can get involved and engage and understand. So we are so excited to do this. Now, as we get started, let's go ahead and bring up our 100X leaderboard. And I do want to say thank you to 100X. We are going to have some giveaways from them, but 100X for being able to sponsor and bring you our 100X equine leaderboard. Now we have, as we are entering in today, remember we are watching the 15 runs, so they are in their original draw order. So as we get started with our first one, here is where the leaderboard sits with Kelly Sapp and Snakebite. Love that. I feel like that one should be from Arizona.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
I feel like that one should be from Arizona with a 2:15.5. All right, Chelsea, let's bring in our first horse.
Well, from the horses we're going to see today, we'll start with draw 14. 455, Gold Star Gunner will be shown by Tom McCutcheon out of Aubrey, Texas. Gold Star Gunner is sired by Gunner Special Night and out of Bella Star Dunnett.
Judges really like horses that trot in. We can do soundness checks, hurries the day along, makes a big difference.
Soundness, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Confident, ready to trot in too, and I'm ready to show, guys.
Sure.
Pay attention.
Mm-hmm. Time to go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good.
Good. Plus F, yes. Two-handed turn, but, still a good turn.
Now this is our maneuver evaluation graphic. And you can see here, you're going to see both Jody and Brian use words like poor or correct or good or very good. You can see the corresponding score that goes with the word.
I give him good.
Yeah, I plus F also. Horse moved just a little bit to the left when he started that turn, but not enough for me to drop that whole thing a half point. So, yes, plus F for me. This absolutely doesn't bother me one bit. He's in two hands, but slack. He has no mouth contact with this horse. This gets as much credit as one hand.
And this is the answer to your question on do we know it? Yes. Are we paying attention to it? Yes. Do we also have to? Yep. Yeah, just a little. That horse came back a little bit more, but it's all good. This is good. We got one more circle to go. We're still good. Start to step on the gas, and away we are.
And what a pretty one to start us out.
Yep.
And definitely
Around
challenging.
the corner, and there's the middle, and yep, good.
Good change, yes. Good.
First big fast. He's coming around the corner, approaching the middle. Time to slow down. And he's in good shape.
Yep. Nice little slack on the rein, too.
Yep, it is.
This horse is listening to him. He's fully under control. Got finesse. He's earning credit. Being willingly guided.
Straight from the rule book.
Right.
Willingly guided.
Approaching the middle, and it's time, and
Penalty half lead change.
yep, and a,
Yes.
and a good set of circles.
Delayed
Plus
by a
half.
stride.
Yeah.
I agree.
And that's a very technical one. We'll get into it later, but the delayed change of lead by one stride
Yep.
and big. Yep.
Good.
Go good.
Wow.
Yep.
If you could on this next one, if one of you could, maybe Jody, talk about the entire rundown.
Okay,
How you
right.
take it.
Sure, the approach is good. I mean, in other words, this thing is willingly guided, running when he's being told to run. A little proppy in front, banged that ground pretty hard. I still want to give him credit for it because the approach was so good. The horse maintained, held the ground, not super smooth in front, but I'm not calling it very good. I'm just calling it good still. So this horse is, this next maneuver now from that right rollback all the way around here. Here's my approach again. Free and slap the ground hard enough for me there that I can't call. I mean, I'm going to call zero. I'm going to call it correct. But if you still think it's a plus half, go. I
Right.
mean,
And that's
Yeah.
the difference. And that generally will be, we're going to be in the same ball game, but split those fine hairs.
Yep.
Yep.
Your scores are in now for Gold Star Gunner and Tom McCutcheon, a 222. We're now going to welcome Original Draw 19. This is back number 410. Smart Diamond Whiz Jared Leclerc is riding for Terry Pinnell. Smart Diamond Whiz is sired by Spooks Gotta Whiz and out of Princess and Pearls.
This looks like a big one, too. Like, big horse.
Going left. One, two, three, four, zero.
I would call it correct. I agree. Pretty slow start.
Two, three. Good.
I liked it.
Yep.
Yes.
What a difference.
Certainly
Plus
half points difference between the two turns.
Yep.
First one correct. Second one I'm paying.
And the first one you had mentioned just kind of took a little bit to get started.
Yeah, I just typical 3-year-old in two hands, right? I mean, they
We're off and low.
they come in and trying to show these things. They're not sure what's happening. They've got their attention focused somewhere else too.
He just shifted, 2 to 3 gears in like 2 to 3 strides.
Yeah.
That's pretty good stuff.
Yep.
Are you looking for them to shift that gear, though, closer
to
to
them.
coming out of center, or
It's up to them. It says big, fast, small, slow, big, fast.
but would you pay them if they didn't get larger?
Degree of difficulty.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's more difficult.
Do you guys hear that? So degree of difficulty comes up a lot, and you're going to see. So I'll ask these questions, and I'd like you guys to join in too. What did you see?
Nothing.
Oh.
I'm just,
Good.
yeah.
Watch my lead change here.
And he just coasted across there, and now you're sitting on a bubble. Where are you going to go? And I go zero.
And I'm probably going to pay it anyway. I
Right.
mean, I'm not liking it, but I mean, the fact that lead change was the way it was, but so many good components, and I'm thinking fast, and that's what's the first thing that pops into my mind. So,
yeah.
And it doesn't mean that there's only 2 spots for that.
Right.
To the correct or good.
Mm-hmm.
And this horse, I will say, you know, just looks very happy. Like his ears keep coming up, but he's not spooking. He's just enjoying the.
And good.
There, yes.
Would you have paid
That
that?
exhibitor, I did.
Yes.
Plus half.
Yep.
And that exhibitor showed you 2 different ways of changing leads. His choice. My job was their job, the officiating's job, is to analyze it. Yep, good.
Good. And there may have been a little commotion at the beginning of that. You can't tell. I mean, there's dirt, there's dust, but the approach was great. Stayed straight. Roll back, good. Good. Plus half. Really nice here. Super soft around the ends. Running straight.
Wanted to set just a touch.
Little setup. Hard call for me. I mean, I'm thinking that if I'm going to pay it. But I mean, there was a setup, so I have to box them as I did the same one where he didn't set up, right? I mean, so it's difficult.
And you give him the half.
Yep, I gave him the half. Did you zero him?
Probably. No,
Yeah.
I gave him the half.
Okay.
That's what kept you from a 1.
Yeah. In the rollback, yes.
Yeah. Rollback was huge. But it was a setup you have to sort out. And again, half.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, your scores are in for 410, Smart Diamond Wiz and Jared LeClaire, a 221 and 1/2. We're now going to welcome draw number 20. This is 367. Ruffalicious will be shown by Jason Van Landingham for Vaughn Zimmerman. Ruffalicious is a stud, sired by Not Rough at All and out of Magnalicious.
Now, those of you that are tuning in right now, when you see Jody and Brian, that horse was a really good example. When they're like teetering, that's the complexities of judging. It's not easy.
4. I give him a half.
Good. Plus half, correct.
We call it the bubble. He calls it the tweener.
Yeah.
But, Yep.
Whether
1, 2, 3. Yeah. All day.
Very good for me.
Plus half, plus 1. Getting ready to lope off. We're in great shape.
one-handed and a bridle too.
Yep.
First one-hander.
Yep, exactly.
Doing it and
Makes it more difficult.
Right.
And he did it.
now we did have a question come in from Elise, and she's wondering, do you count off for the nose out during the fast circles or the rundowns?
As long as it's, I mean, it's, no, I mean, it's,
No.
that horse can carry himself comfortably anywhere that he's got a good balance point. Just a little different style than some horses that are in the bridle. But this doesn't offend me at all.
That's good.
If they go to flipping their nose up and down, then yes, it does. You know,
Okay.
I mean, and it's not pleasing to watch. But this horse's top line is
This is
attractive.
Come
Little
here.
leany.
Yeah,
And
good. I still give him good.
yeah, he makes me wonder if he was late on that change. I mean, I'm still going to give it to him in the box. I'm going to plus him a half. But he's got me thinking about it, you know. He was in the third stride of the box, for sure.
Going down. Good.
And Jason doing such a good job with his hand, right?
Yep.
Like so quiet.
Yep.
Even when he asks to help, it's really kind of hard to see the help. You guys might see it, but I'm just saying he's showing.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
Yep.
Like I said, this is a 3-year-old that looks like it's December in one hand. Change, yes.
Yes, it's an easy good you could be thinking about very good.
Really good around the ends, like a 3-year-old should be, that hasn't been shown.
I plus it a half because the rollback's not. Jody, what are you going to do?
I'm going to plus it a half, but I'm thinking because he over-rotated, I'm taking something off this side because that's part of the approach of this stop. So I don't know what's going to happen here, but very good approach. Huge.
Wow.
And a great rollback.
And I plus that a 1.
I'm going to half it just because I'm taking some
Because
off of the maneuver.
the last
yeah,
one.
Yep.
yeah, off left rollback.
He held it, so
Yep.
which is fine. And that's exactly, yes.
Yes.
We're talking about how good something is. The decision is how good. There is no absolute right or wrong answer.
That looks like a 1 all day long.
Yep.
That's a stopping
Yep.
machine,
Back
right?
up.
Yes, and a good, very good backup. I'm very good.
Wow.
Well, let's see what the judges from the chair thought. For 367, Ruffalicious and Jason Van Landingham, a 224.
Yeah.
Yeah, great
So-
job. I mean, I think, again, just like we talked about the Reining by the Bay, this group of judges has done an excellent job on this horse show, too. I mean, I think they
Yes.
did a really good job judging.
Phenomenal job.
Yeah.
You know, and using the whole scale. If the opportunity presents itself on this run, let's see how we can talk about that a little bit more in depth.
We're now looking at draw 22.5, 479, Spooky Gotta Be Juicy, and Alejandro Vasquez.
2, 3, 4. I plus it a half.
Yes, I agree.
1, 2, 3, 4.
For me, no. I mean, the horse
0.
moved a little bit,
It just-
and and I mean, he hit a stride.
tried
and,
hard.
Yeah, maybe
Didn't work.
overturning.
Oh,
you know, yeah.
like, yep,
He's
overexerting.
right, trying
Yep.
to go too fast.
So he undid the goodness that he was on his way to doing. You got to come up with an answer at the end. So
Yep.
ours
Yeah.
is plus half 0. Safe.
Staying to the inside of that center cone a little bit.
I was going to ask about
Yep,
that.
shading that, and that's pattern placement, and we have to decide how much of it. I found it again.
Well, now he goes right across there.
Right.
But when he on his way to that small slow, he played it safe. He was to the inside.
I was just going to say, play it safe. So he was kind of making sure we didn't lose a lead there.
Right.
And way safe on its way to poor.
Right.
So
yeah,
I zero it.
Yeah, I call it correct. Ken, I'm not going to pay him for it.
We had posted a photo on social media with this showing what safe means. We'll get into it today, too.
He's spot on center right there.
Safest degree of difficulty,
Yep.
and it's about pattern placement, which is about how you exhibit your horse with the pattern as is described in the rule book. Time to go big fast.
Definitely using the full
Yep,
extent
using
of the
whole,
arena.
He's using the whole
right?
pen, that's for sure.
He is.
So I wonder if that's affecting
And hello.
pattern placement.
His choice, exhibitor choice. I give that one a plus half.
Yeah, I call it good also. Willingly guided. See how my approach is. Running free. Huge stop.
Yep.
Roll back.
I plus a half.
Yeah. Correct.
What kept
Good.
that from a 1?
Yeah.
I wished I could just say simply X, but it's not. It's not that simple. You got all of this stuff. He's two-handed, just for me, it's
Yep.
just my analysis. And there's a rollback, and I would have given that one a 1.
Yeah. Call it very good. Even with a little bit of a setup, it's still very good.
Very good.
Yep.
You have all those factors that are going into it. So you're still talking about how good something is. And we can only move in half points. So that's your choice.
So that's where the bubble hits, right?
Yes. And you really only had 2 choices. That was a +1 or a +1.
Yeah.
So you got to stay consistent with yourself and pick it.
I think good.
Yeah, +1 the last one.
We've got the scores in for 479. Spooky Gotta Be Juicy. Alejandro Vasquez riding for Smart Like Juice Incorporated, a 221. Now in the ring, this is draw 23, 482 Voodoo Doll, Brandy Murphy showing for Leonard Truck and Trailer. Voodoo Doll, sired by Shiner's Voodoo Doctor, is out of She's a Starry-Eyed Girl.
I do want to mention, we are streaming free on Facebook right now. So if you are viewing this on Facebook and you're liking what you see and the ability to comment, I want to see those comments come in because I do have 2 prizes, maybe actually 3 prizes to give away on our upcoming drag break. But if you are on Facebook, make sure you share this onto your page. This is absolutely free. So the more opportunities for education and bringing people to the sport, the better for everyone.
I -1/2, 0 penalty half.
Exactly the same. First turn can no way be called correct because the horse moved so far when it first turned to the left. That doesn't fit the definition of correct, so it has to be poor. Second turn was better.
But had a penalty.
Yes.
At the end, because the horse swings its haunches. So
Yeah. Doesn't matter if it's
Not
front end
how
or
they-
back end.
yeah.
It's still the
right
penalty.
now we're
Yeah.
incorrect.
One-handed.
Yeah.
Brave one-handed out there.
Yes.
Yep. She's steering around here. Just that's-
Still incorrect.
Yep. What you're supposed to do.
Yep. In the middle, got a stumble, and I would have zeroed it.
Correct.
0.
0. It's way inside.
Way
Way
inside.
inside.
So
That's like
way safe is
extremely safe.
She found it.
but then got back out there.
They're thinking two spots for this now, correct again, or did that make it poor? And is she going to do enough here in a lead change to maintain it? She's doing a little bit of hand steering.
And she's okay.
Yep,
And 0.
I call it correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's my approach.
Yep.
Good. Horse good in front. Yep,
+1/2.
good. Plus half. And she didn't have to go as far down the pen as some of these other horses did, and she still gets a good stop. You know what? Is this horse running free?
She didn't have to run
Right.
all the way
She
down.
didn't
There
have
was
to
no
go.
requirement.
She didn't have to. And again, super cool in
Yipper.
front, huh? Absolutely.
Easy +1/2. On your way.
So good in front. Yes, to call very good. I'm good with that.
And that might be great that she knows her horse not to run that long.
Right.
You know, because it runs this good.
Not as nice as my far side.
Yep.
And
I would've zeroed it.
Yeah, I call it correct. He didn't run as free to this one either, though. You know, I mean, it was kind of didn't set up on her, but he was like, "Yeah, I know what's coming."
70.5 to 71.5 kind of run. Yep.
All
We've got
right.
your scores in for 482 Voodoo Doll and Brandy Murphy, a 214.
All right. Well, I think we have some great things that I'm going to pull up here in just a minute. But before I do, I just want to let everyone know that has been commenting in. Thank you. We are loving seeing those. I'm going to share out our first trivia question to win a prize. But I do want to let you know, if you saw in the top left-hand corner of your screen, all of the logos going through, those are our generous sponsors. And because of them, we were able to offer Showtime free to everybody this year. That was a goal that Chelsea and I set out to do, and we are so happy and fortunate to have such amazing sponsors to be able to partner with us and share that same vision. Now, I want to give away, if you saw Holla denim, okay? I'm telling you, as far as denim jeans go for ladies, these are a stretch riding jean that are absolutely amazing. I have a $50 gift card for Holla. Now the question to go with that, first person to answer, again, everyone, we are monitoring the chat, is how many scoring options are available for each maneuver? How many scoring options are available for each maneuver? And some of these questions may be a little dated. You'll pick up on which ones those are and maybe who they came from. All right, I do also want to give away a $50 gift certificate to Show Stop and Show Pads. Chris, I've got another one coming. I don't want to tell you that, but I do have more show pads. So if anyone else has a show pad addiction, give me like a double hand raise in the comments. I have plenty from Show Stop and Pads. So this is a $50 gift card, which will cover essentially 25% of the show pad. Now the question for that is, what year did the NRHA fraternity move from Congress over to OKC, Oklahoma City? What year did the NRHA fraternity move from Congress down to the Oklahoma City showgrounds, where it is now? Yep. All right, we're going to be looking for those answers and we'll announce those winners soon. But with that, let's go into our first review. The first one I'd like to bring up is exhibitor number 456, maneuver 4. This is Tom with his second set, second set of circles.
Left, right, lead change.
455. My apologies, 455.
It's on the second lead change.
Yep.
Yes.
This is the one that people get confused about, because this is the technical one. He changes leads properly, but he does it one stride beyond the middle. So that technical aspect by the rule book, that's where this is.
He's out. Yep, he's out.
And we actually had a question come in from Krista on, can you elaborate what the box is? So here's a great opportunity for us to elaborate on that.
Can you hit pause? When this horse's front legs go, if you pause him, I can do that.
I'm going to do a slow-mo for you so you can
Good.
explain.
Oh.
Yep, he's in lead. He is in lead. He's going to be asked to change
I'm going to
from
slow
left
down
to
even more.
right, from left to right.
Get one more. There's middle. There's one stride. And he's on his change. Stop.
There.
Stop.
Oh.
Which is fine. And the point of the story is he's actually on it. He's really on it. This is a great one. But the point of the story is because he's choosing, middle is here, and as you cross it, and it's because the exhibitor is using that path of travel. But the middle is a very clear spot, and we give him one stride in front of it and one stride behind it, a horse width to each side. That is the middle box. So the rules are all written around that box. And he's literally changing this lead
Right
at the end of one stride beyond the
Right.
middle.
The right hind is not in sync when he makes the change for that stride, which our rule book tells us delay, half point.
Delay, half-point penalty. Although he,
Changes leads properly.
well, and the overall maneuver of
Is
the
good.
left circles is good.
You betcha.
Yep.
So earned credit, but had a penalty. Penalty is black and white, right? Okay. I would love to go to horse number 367. I'm going to do first a comparison. Let's do maneuver 5 on 367. So this is Jason on his first stop and how he over-rotated. If you could both just explain a little bit more kind of what you do with that over-rotation and how it applies to the score, the overall score.
Well, we have a choice. I mean, if you know, our book says after the rollback is finished, that maneuver is complete. So do you take it off of this stop and left rollback, or do you take it off of the right stop and rollback? I choose to take it off the far side. I call him complete when he comes out of the rollback. So it's a good stop.
This is all good. And now he says, come here and roll. And it's like a half turn and try and lope. And he's on his way to this way. He would have been going this way. So his choice, but he actually does a half turn and lope departure, not a very good rollback. And so you have to sort that out.
Right, and it's an over rotation, and so
Right.
I have to give a horse that doesn't do that more credit. I mean, I have to. So, and for me, because of the over rotation on this left rollback, to me, it's going to come off of the next maneuver. Okay, the one that he's now starting. He's now starting his next maneuver. So
Because he's almost starting at an angle.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
can
right?
still call this good. I can still plus it a half because of the approach and the rollback, but we'll see what he does on this next one. So, and for me, it was a half points difference.
I like that explanation because I think sometimes we see this and where it's like, oh, is it
Sure.
off pattern?
What do
What
you do?
happened?
What do
Like,
you
what do
do?
you do?
Right.
You know?
If he were to actually cross the center line of the arena, he would be. If he over rotated that far.
That far.
So.
Okay. And I mean, here's to Jason marking a 224, still having.
Oh,
do you
yeah.
know, I mean,
It's
All
this
day.
is like little things.
You're talking
we're
about
looking
how
at here.
good.
Yes.
Yeah.
How good.
Yes, absolutely. All right, I'd like to look at 479, and why don't we look at maneuver 3? I want to pause it on safe and explain
On what?
Safe circles.
Oh, sure.
So we should be loping off here, full speed. Oh, and look at this. We just had this question come in from Laura. Can you further explain the term being safe as the horses enter the small slope?
Sure. Well, it's about degree of difficulty. So what do we know is that when you come across, the middle has a lot of things that you have to ask your horse to do. But stop. But can you back it up? Whoa. He loped off a couple seconds ago. He was here. He's now here. That's almost 2 horse widths between those 2 paths of travel. That is not difficult to do. So in approaching a small slow circle, this is safe, or as in not difficult.
It almost always happens in right circles away from the gate. Guys do that because they're worried that
worried.
horse is going to change leads and lean into the gate when they do downward transition. So again, we have to figure out a way to separate horses, and we have to give the horse that doesn't do that more credit in the identical situation, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah, and even if
Let
this
it
is
play.
right or caused, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, it's
Right.
he's there
It's
for
not
a
the
reason.
cause, it's what is.
Right.
It
And
is.
I think we, exhibitors, we try to think like, oh, well, he's just trying to, keep him, like we're like rooting for him and wanting to do it.
Right.
But you as judges,
There he goes, right across the middle.
Right.
When he came across the middle a minute ago, he was 2 horse widths to the inside.
well, and let's see on the change.
Now watch this.
Yeah, let's see on the
Correct.
change.
This is exhibitor is doing something. The rest of the story is a story and don't have it. Yep, stop.
I mean, even
He's here, and he was here and here. So his paths of travel were all of those through the course of it.
now, do you think, because this question did come up, overall, do you think the size of the arena made it easier to score bigger?
You're trying
or
to
make
figure
it,
out the cause. Don't.
doesn't
That's
matter.
the story. What did this exhibitor show you? He showed us 3 different paths of travel across the middle, and those are not difficult. Those are safe. The why is his problem,
it's
not
kind
ours.
of, yep, you guys judge what is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I will say that I will say that because we both had experience, doing this stuff live in pins this size that we lose the element of speed here. So a lot of times we're calling these circles good. Very well live, we may call them very good. But with the video, you don't have that. I mean, we can tell if they're running, but we don't know. It's not like it is live. So, but we certainly know that he's nowhere close to the center.
I was like, technology is showing us what is right now.
Yeah.
Very good. Now, before we move on to our last maneuver review, I do have actually a full gallon of 100X equine gut X. Now, if you tuned in to Chelsea and I doing our Go Live series at Reining by the Bay, you heard it straight from the trainer's mouth how much this product is a part of trainers' programs. So I have a full gallon to give away. Thank you to 100X. That question, I'm going to do a tough one, and this one might be dated. But what year did the first $100,000 guarantee happen to win the Open Futurity? So what year was it that the first $100,000 was awarded at the NRHA Open Futurity? And actually, let's do this. Horse and rider. What horse and rider won that? This is going to be a tough one. You guys might have to Google this up. But you've got just a little bit, and I'll announce those winners. Now, the last one I'd like to bring up is horse number 482, maneuver 2.
That was the first spin.
That was the
That's where
first
she
spin.
moved over
Yep.
a little bit.
That's fine.
Yep.
But I'd like you to just share a little bit more details on how you got to where you did on this score.
One, two, three, four. Whoa. Well, first of all, that half-point penalty is because of this. She should be right there. She showed you she's actually this way, and a second ago was that way. So the half-point penalty is there. The other side of this is when she started, she was right here, and now she's right here. So I had a little migration, not that bad, but that was the difference in our marks.
She had a significantly more the first set of turns that she had.
But the penalty is the over, and it's because you got daylight between the diagonal corners of the horse.
It's so great to see and be able to pause it like this, to be able to show us with not the trained eye to be able to see it.
Well, and we're looking at it from the right side of the arena this time. This is a 5-judge system, and there is no hiding in reining.
It's a Brianism for you. It's a Brianism. Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's bring up that leaderboard again, and we're going to get into our next set. So thank you once again to 100X Equine for sponsoring our leaderboard today. So we do have Jason at the top with the 224, Tom right behind with a 222. Now, those of you that answered the trivia questions, it looks like we're still looking for a winner for that 100X Equine Gut X giveaway. Name the horse and rider to win the first $100,000 purse at the NRHA Futurity. I knew the rider, I didn't know the horse, so I will say that. But maybe Google it up, look on NRHA.com, ask a friend, phone a friend, right? So I do want to congratulate Terry. You won the $50 gift card to Holla Denim. They are going to be at the Run for a Million, and I will say that if you live near the World Equestrian Center, Holla actually has a physical retail store right outside Barn 2. So you're going to want to make sure to stop there. But we will get that gift certificate over to you. Mary Ann, you won the $50 Show-Stoppin' gift card, Show-Stoppin' Pads gift card. Trust me, if you don't see the colors that you want, Jewel will make exactly what you want, and it will be amazing. So congratulations. Now, Jacob pulls through with our 100X Equine Gut X Gallon. For naming that horse and rider, it was Craig Johnson riding Lucky Bayglow.
Yep.
All right, I knew it was Craig Johnson. I didn't know it was Lucky Bayglow. Good old Lucky Bayglow. Got that one done.
I left graduate school because of that. So it's another story.
That's a story for a different time. We don't have time for that on Showtime. We'll get to that. Our three winners, Terry, Marianne, as well as Jacob. Please either send us a DM with your contact information on Facebook or Instagram over at RainerStop, and or you can send us an email at support@rainerstop.com. And congratulations. We might just pick some of those commenting winners. Whoever is commenting the most is probably going to win something this next time. And you see our gift giveaways are pretty substantial, let's say. Thanks again to our sponsors. All right, Chelsea, let's go ahead and bring in our first horse of our next set.
We're going to see draw 24 headed this way. 436. Got a Ray of Hope. Jesse John Chase will be showing for Terry Maney of Wendell, North Carolina. Got a Ray of Hope is sired by Spooks Got a Whiz and is out of Miss Tari's Ray. Maybe we do have time for Brian's story about leaving graduate school for...
Letting it... You want to go in there?
Well, it was simple. I was on my way to grad school, and, well, the year prior was Rick Weaver wins the fraternity. Assistant trainers are our age group. The next year, we guarantee $100,000 to the winner. Craig Johnson wins it, and it's like, well, maybe the young guys did have a shot. So I was young and single and had no obligations, and
thought that was a good idea.
Here
I'm
I
going,
sit.
right?
Here I
What were
sit
you
with you
Yeah,
guys.
right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
How'd that work out? Yeah.
right.
So
3-year-old in the Romal.
3-year-old in the Romel's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the fact that we're having a different angle of this
The others-
showtime.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4. Poor.
Poor.
I'm honest at half.
I'm honest at half. Watch this direction.
3. And I zero it.
I'm going to call it poor again. I think the horse was on the counter. I mean,
was
what I
gonna
call a
ask
counter
that.
bend.
Uh-huh.
And even though it doesn't come into consideration, this horse had his ears pinned like through all 4 rotations. He was unhappy, and to me that says I'm not willingly guided. You know, he looks PO'd.
See, he's right again.
Well, I'm just saying. But I mean, I get
yeah.
it too.
Yeah.
He was. It was faster. Footwork was good.
It's
Yeah.
the bubble.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Big, fast. He's on. Small, slow. He's doing okay. He's correct. Safe. There he was, safe across the middle again. Same thing we saw with the bald-faced horse.
Well, and look at, I mean, challenging the
he
horse,
says,
but to
now
your
I'm gonna
point,
go. Yeah.
Jody, little,
This thing looked happy, willingly guided, but
Zero.
Zero.
I mean, he went hard enough at it that I'm going to pay him something for degree of difficulty, but I can't call him good. See what my downward transition's like.
oh,
2 and a 1. 2-point penalty, 1-point penalty. And he's 3/4 of the way through this maneuver. So where are you on that? I'm on a -half
Poor.
right now.
Yeah, I'm on poor. Stay there.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's a reviewable too.
Yeah.
So we have the option of looking at that again.
Mm-hmm.
My approach is good.
Stop's good.
Stops good. Stop good in front. Roll back. Good.
Good. Plus half.
Plus that. You can't stop judging.
I was just going to
know,
say, I mean,
it-
A little bit of a dive and a 0. That's right. What'd you do?
Plus a half.
Okay.
and
But I get it.
Well, and you'll hear just slight differences, right?
Yeah.
And that we'll talk about spread. I would love to dive
Sure.
into spread scores and how they
They're
happen.
normal. That's why they have multiple judges.
For sure. And
Yep.
stood up right at the end of that. He's
What do
got
you
a
do?
good backup.
I give them the plus.
I'm gonna zero it. I'll zero it this side. We just flipped. I mean, it's like, but there's some things. Like I said, we both see different things. Excuse me, Chelsea.
Scores are in for 436. Got a Ray of Hope. Jesse John Chase a 211. Now in the ring, this is draw 26. Casey O'Rourke riding for Jolene Partners on Jolene. This horse is sired by Lil Joe Cash and out of Pretty Wiz, Pretty Does.
Definitely a famous dam. This one is bred to do some big things.
Yeah, pretty safe bet when their tails cut that short, they can stop.
Little indicator.
2, 3, 4. Good.
No penalty incurred for me. I say good.
Now, what do you think
Pushing
about her
very good.
hands?
Yeah.
The way that
She's picking up and carrying it a little bit. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's no question about that. It's like I still can't call it 0. 1, 2, 3.
And I did 0.
Yes, poor start, good finish. But it kept me from going very good on the first set of turns because of that.
because of
Yeah,
that,
right.
because that took away the degree of difficulty.
Otherwise, I could have called the turns a +1, but no, with that much of 2 hands.
Yep. It's a cute one.
And right away, I'm liking this a lot.
Yeah,
Right.
wow. Really pretty picture.
All slow. Good.
Talking about a horse being happy doing their job, I feel like this one's definitely telling us that.
Willingly guided. Dictated to completely. With little or no apparent resistance.
There you go.
Time to change leads.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah. And she's not having to use a lot of 2 hands on this. I mean, this is
You just got him right out there.
good downward transition.
You just checked him. He said, I'm here.
But he did. I mean, look at the tongue. You see him? You see him lick his lips as he's loping? Or she? I can't
Yeah.
tell. Maybe she.
I hope it's a she. They named it Jolene.
I mean, you never know nowadays.
That's true.
So I can't.
That's
cannot
true.
assume.
You don't know.
Right.
And good.
Good.
I do.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll get it. Now, we had a question come in, and if this opportunity presents itself, if we are taught that approach, stop, and roll back are all one maneuver, then why do we take it off the second maneuver, like on Jason? If we have an opportunity to talk about that here, great.
We
If
will.
not, oh,
I plus it a half.
Good.
Yeah.
I agree.
let me get back to- All right.
Yep.
1.
Good. Yeah.
Very good for me.
And he pluses it 1, I
Yeah.
plus it a half.
And just for our audience, Brian, could you explain when they come out on the wrong lead, like what that means and how long they have to change?
There is no wrong lead in a straight line. They have to be loping when they come out of that rollback, and they have until they take a direction, which in this pattern, and you're making me do multiple things at
I
once.
know.
Yeah.
Well, and that was
And
not
I zero.
easy, I
Zero.
don't think. Yeah.
Horse did not hold the ground. I mean, ran really hard, but
See,
in and out.
if you were my scribe, I would have fired you.
Back to little cricket, right?
I know better than to ask you something in the middle of a run. If I was your scribe. Ay, ay, ay.
Scores are in for Casey O'Rourke's ride on Jolene. That mare will score a 222. Now in the ring, this is Sean Flaherty riding 449 Snow Gun's Last Dream for Mark Scholes of Aubrey, Texas. Snow Gun's Last Dream is sired by Magnum Chick Dream and out of Snow Gun.
Thanks for Chelsea clearing up. It is a mare on Jolene. Whew.
1, 2, 3, 4. Wow.
Well, very good or excellent. Only
Yep.
2 spots
Take your
for
pick.
it. Yep.
It's 1 or 1 and a
Yeah.
half. Take your pick.
So what do you do with that?
I plus it 1. You plus what?
I think there's a half points difference between the two just because this horse's head was a little bit different. You know, I mean, he carried his chin a little differently than he did the first way, but I'm going to half it. Call it good. But I'm going for excellent and good. I'm in on my 2 calls.
Still leaves the center with a 72.
Time for small, slow. He says, talk about willing, smoothness and finesse, quickness of attitude, controlled speed, and dictated to completely. Everything about this is earning credit so far. And he says, here's the middle and time to go. This is good on its way to very good.
I mean, what a great.
I agree.
To earlier question we had about the nose out, that's not affecting.
No, not at all.
Horse is saying, yes, sir, I'm with you, and I like my job. Yep, take your pick.
And
Very
he
good.
couldn't be any more on the center line.
One-handed, I mean, you know, very
Wow.
attractive picture. I call it very good. Maybe a little bit of an earlier slowdown and maybe not working quite as good as it did that first half of that slow small circle as it did on the other side. But
good.
yeah, still good. And maybe a little wide. I'm just not thinking very good right now. I'm thinking good.
I'm right with him. Distinctive difference, but yes.
Excited to watch this one run down and
Wow.
stop.
3-year-old, and I plus it a half. You?
Yeah. Good. Good around the end. It's all one maneuver from the lead change. Huge stop. Not a fan of the rollback, but I have to call it good.
Yep, plus half.
Yeah.
So the rollback
Is what
kept it from
Yeah.
going up.
That's kind of a half turn and lope out, you know, not a rollback.
And I plus half.
And I'm
Again, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Rollback's the rest of that maneuver, and you've got to take it in. Now you only have half points to work in, so you got to do something. Is it still earning credit? Yes. Is it? Come here. I could have won. Yeah. What do you want to do?
I'm going to call it correct. I'm going to zero it. Only because I don't think the horse held ground, and I wasn't a big fan of the backup. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I cannot call it poor, and if you want to call it good,
Yep.
I'm okay with that too. There's 2 spots for it. Correct or good. It's not very good. It's not poor.
The scores are in for Sean Flaherty riding 449 Snow Gun's Last Dream, a 222. We're now going to welcome in draw 39. Jared Leclerc is riding Done Up to Code for Jared and David Seago. Done Up to Code is sired by Electric Code and out of the Dun Gun.
3, 4.
I'm for correct.
Yep, 0.
0.
I give it a 0. I was on my way to pour.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, it's the bubble. Take your pick.
It's a tweener, yep.
But you're on the bottom side
Yep.
of that. Not on the top side.
I mean,
Easy. The
because
side pass slope departure?
yeah. I was just going to ask,
It's
we
just
get
not
this
difficult.
question often, is how many steps can you take before loping off?
Well, you basically have a quarter. Yep.
I
How would you like to be a judge right now?
Not at all.
Make that call.
Nope. No, thank you. Leave that to the experts.
Okay.
Nope.
Something happened, and you got the attempt of trying to do some good stuff here.
Right.
So you got to be on your toes here. This is what all of that is about. He has a little bit of stumble in there. What did it mean? And changes leads, and you got to deal with the maneuver. So
Yeah, and I didn't feel confident enough in a break of gate there to call a 2-point penalty, and I think there's some good things that went on in that set of circles right there. So I'm still going to call it good.
Yep, give him the plus half.
Yep.
But if
you're
one
moving
judge,
on.
if one judge does call a 2-point penalty,
They'll go review,
Yeah.
then it
They'll
will
go
go to
review.
review.
Yep.
and then it either did or it didn't. So far, we're on correct on this side.
Yes, I agree.
Now, I was just informed we have a huge audience over on Facebook. I'm so excited to have everyone there. That is a
And-
new.
Right on
Oh,
target.
oh.
Yeah, just.
It's
I'll
like
go
another
0.
Just correct.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right, so those changes. But if you are on Facebook, we are so excited that you're there. Remember, you can watch on rainerstop.com. You're going to want to make sure that you sign up for our email. We have a monthly bulletin plus lots of extra goodies that you don't want to miss.
Brr. Whoa, that's big.
That's we're going to
big.
look at that.
That's big.
I'm just going to get in stuff as these guys talk, but that was
Very good.
good.
I mean,
Yeah.
roll
Wow.
right back
You
over
can
to
plus
Wow.
one that all day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Make sure you sign up over at rainerstop.com. Be a part of our email community. We only send you the good stuff, no fluff.
Come on. Yep.
And
Wow.
again, yeah.
And again.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Comfortable.
I feel like this one's almost building to all bets are off, like that one rollback that
The
he had. That
rollback.
it was like
You just saw a horse roll back left and right.
Yeah.
Very well.
which typically it's usually one is
Right.
better
You get
than the
one
other.
of them. You don't normally get two.
Yep.
All bets are off. Gave us 2. So, yes. This is exceptional. Wanted to set a touch.
Yeah, set up just a couple strides right before we pulled the trigger on it. I mean, I can't call it. I mean, I'm going to call it good, but
Yeah.
not very good.
All right.
We've got the scores in from your judges in the chair on 412 and Jared Leclerc, a 217. We'll now see original draw 41. Back number 394, FS Inferno, will be shown by Fernando Salgado for Gilberto Leal.
Those scores
FS
aren't
Inferno is sired by Inferno 66 and out of FS Smart Doc Chick.
Not for.
So if you were tuned in 2 weeks ago to our Reading by the Bay coverage of Showtime, Fernando was there. So Fernando literally went from one coast to the other coast in 2 weeks. He's working hard.
I know.
Good.
Plus half. Yep. Again.
Good.
Plus half.
Textbook good.
Makes it easy, right?
Those are the no-brainers. Those are the obvious
It's just
ones.
like you guys
Yep.
move on and it's not that.
Yeah.
See a trot?
I wanted to. It'd be interesting.
I don't have a lot of time to think about that, but I call penalty half trot. I mean, This is really nice. And not just because he's got his head low, but that's, I mean, he's come back on a loose bridle rein and.
Loping.
Yep.
Staying. Let me go. He's going. And yes, I agree with you on the lope departure. I saw those hocks. Plus half.
I mean,
Good.
Yeah. He's definitely showing that horse.
Right.
Wow.
But we're back to that conversation, 2 hands in a snaffle versus 1 hand in a bridle. You know, they're never all the same. So that's the hard pressure that we put in the whole sport through. This is good so far.
Maybe not just such an attractive mover.
Not as good in the big fast.
Yeah.
On this side especially.
Yeah.
Maybe a shoulder a little deeper, but
0. Approach to the middle and well.
Yeah.
Well, that big fast kind of undid it. Took the smoothness and finesse out of it, and then the middle.
You're kind of with it,
emphasize
and then, yep.
half. I call it good.
You're going to give it?
I'm gonna.
And I wouldn't. I'd sit on 0 because of the rollback.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's
Yeah, it was.
you're again on the bubble.
Yep.
But you're on the top side of that instead of the bottom side. But that's where you are.
I mean, look at that.
That's why we use multiples.
This was 5 judges.
Correct.
Another tweener.
Yeah, I zero it.
Yeah. And I agree. Correct. It's a good call.
And
for
it's
that.
sometimes hard, right? Like,
Yep.
it's like that tweener.
Yes.
I could see
hard.
I can
Yep.
feel that they're both trying to be like,
And he didn't have to roll back, so I'm gonna call him good.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah.
there
plus
you
that.
go.
Well, your scores are in for Fernando Salgado on 394, FS Inferno, a 221.
Very good. Well, another great set. And wow, I've got a lot of notes for us to review. Some really good maneuvers, and the questions have been coming in. So we really appreciate all of you that are tuning in right now. Again, Facebook, YouTube, or over on rainerstop.com. If you are on Facebook, we sure would love a share. The more people that can learn about our sport, the more people we bring to this sport. And I do want to get to some questions first. We have some more giveaways on this drag break. And now I am going to go again with a $50 Holla Denim gift card. I tell you what, we did this on a TV episode once. There was a question: how many pairs of jeans does how many pairs does Shelly have of Holla Denim? I'm embarrassed to say, and that might be, we'll save that one to another one. They are the best jeans. So very excited to have them on board. We are going to ask the question. First person to answer is, where is the next Rainer Stop Showtime going to be? Meaning, what event are we going to cover next on Rainer Stop Showtime? If you have been paying attention to those logos up in the top corner, that would have given you a clue. So first one in on that is going to win $50 to Holla. Now another $50 gift card to Showstop and Pads. We are going to go with this. We just talked about a 5-judge system. So we have 5 judges here at the NARS for the Open Futurity. How many scores of the 5 go into the total that counts? So how many do we keep out of a 5 judges scoring system into the final score? And then last but not least, actually I'm going to hold the next one. You guys stay tuned, because I think whoever is going to start commenting next is going to win the best. So as we dive in here, let's bring up our first review. We are going to bring up number 436, maneuver 4. This is going to be Jesse and we are going to look at that lead change.
Lead change of the brake.
Downward transition.
It was the yes, it was the downward transition where he fell out, so we could catch that penalty. I believe we're bringing that up right now. So while we, here we go.
Here he is. He's going to change leads. Yep. Okay.
I think it was it on the first set? Or nope, it's the second set. Here we go.
It's coming up here. He's got big, fast, small, slow. So when he comes to this transition, right here, 1, 2, and out. You have two things that happen. That's where he's out of lead because his left hind comes back in. That's the out of lead. That's a 1-point penalty. Prior to this, there's a big decision on does he break gate?
Right here.
Right here. And go ahead.
Yeah, it's a really tough call. But I think that he does. I would call for the review. I'd want to look at it again.
Back up more.
But I mean.
Yep.
Here.
Okay, now play. You count the front feet because his back feet are at the ground here and here. You actually will get 2 strides with his front feet go through 2 rotations while his back feet are in the ground.
And
that is a break of gate.
Right.
Okay.
Because all 4 feet have to make up 1 stride.
Right. It is I will say it's a tough call, and you've got a lot of dirt flying, and our rule book tells us that if we're not positive, benefit of the doubt goes.
Right.
But I would be confident enough in this.
1, 2, lope, out of lead, right hind.
Yeah.
That's everything that was going on. He's still out. 2 strides.
Right there.
3 strides brings it back. It's a hard one. That's what happens. And you have effort.
And you have some guys may have a great angle. Actually, these back chairs, 4 and 5s, are good. Are good chairs to look at breakup gates from. I mean, if you're confident in your ability to pick those out. But yeah, that horse was out of balance, and you had both feet to one side, and it was a difficult call. But I would be confident in making that call, 2 and a 1.
So again, just to review, so it would be a 5-point break a gate. No,
2-point break a gate and a 1-point out of lead.
So 3-point penalty, but 2 and 1. Yes,
cumulative. 2 and a 1.
Yep.
But
3
you would
points
call
of
them
penalties.
separately. Yeah, call them separately.
Yes.
Call them separately, yes.
Yeah, you wouldn't go penalty 3. You would
Right.
go penalty 2, penalty 1, and that would mean your scribe would say that's a reviewable 2. We can go look at that again.
Then you'd go look, and you could.
Yep.
Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's hard. But you have to be clear that because all 4 feet move in one succession, that's a stride. So you have to be clear that stride was interrupted. That's a break of gate. In this case, it's because he asked him to slow down and the back feet go to the ground. Now, did he interrupt that stride? We can, yes.
Easily see. Now, I want to bring this up to the audience. In our pre-show, I talked about exactly what Showtime was designed to do, and it was designed to help analyze the complexities of judging a reining, and that's exactly what it is. That is a very complex. There's a lot going on there that you guys have to call within seconds to be able to keep going.
You still have a maneuver evaluation to deal with.
We're not done.
Right.
Right.
And so if you want to play the mind game, you'll miss it all.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. Very good. Great example here. Now, I do want to bring up back number 268, maneuver 7. So this is Casey. I just want to review, and if you could actually let me get that going at full speed here. When the maneuver starts, right? So when this last maneuver starts, at what point?
Back up. You want to know when this last maneuver
That
starts?
question did come up, so I would like to
So it's
the
right.
next maneuver.
Stop. You're halfway right now.
Right now.
Right now, the next maneuver is started. In that first stride, they have to be in that first stride. That's the beginning of the next maneuver.
Yes.
Okay.
She's completed the rollback.
Complete the rollback onto the next maneuver. And it doesn't.
She's in the left lead, but she doesn't have to be in the right lead. She's got
She's
all the way
there.
till here. She has to be in the right lead. And she was in it a long time ago. Her exhibitor's choice.
Now I brought up this one for that point and for this stop and back up. I think it's more the backup. Kind of a little bit of that.
Yeah, I mean, and this thing's trying to get out of the way and, not backing as straight as it possibly could. But
That's what its backup looks like, and its stop was actually that.
Yeah, to kind of stop twice.
So I just
Hits the ground, comes out. If you
And
I
finishes.
see how it.
Yeah.
I feel like there's.
doing the
The shuffle. Yeah.
I mean,
Play.
that's a.
watch it. When she says, "Whoa," watch. Hit,
In, out,
out,
in.
in. There's actually a space in there where he comes out of the ground. So, and then you have the jig.
This. I think I could watch both of you as you were continuing to watch this back up, just seeing a little bit, and that kind of made this decision a little bit more clear, I guess. Hard but clear.
Right.
All right. Let's go ahead and just because, let's bring up 449, maneuver 1 and 2. So this is Sean, right? And you see
the
these turns.
Yeah.
I think that we should review these turns and how interesting and excellent to a good. Right? I mean, same horse, same pattern.
1, 2, 3, 4. Stop.
And great stop. Excellent.
If
yeah.
every part about this, if you can't say excellent on that, then
Yeah, I mean,
Then-
yeah.
you're not going to find excellence. It's very good and excellent. Take your pick. You're splitting a hair on
Yeah.
how good. It's that good.
Yep.
And I think, again, degree of difficulty, right?
Right.
3-year-old one-handed in the bridle comes and does that versus watching two-handers maybe
Yeah.
help a little bit.
Sure. Crazy.
All right, now let's watch his right turns.
1, 2, 3. And there.
That's
There
what I
is
was-
no penalty because his diagonal, you'll want to if you let your eye, but his diagonal is in line.
Right.
So there is no penalty. What he loses is a little bit of that body balance control. He had it to the left and he loses a little bit at the end here. We don't have to have the why. You don't have to figure out why. What is.
Yep.
And that's the difference in the maneuver evaluation.
Yep.
And you can, and if you call that second direction a very good set of turns too, I have no issue with that either. I mean, I can
You can go
excellent.
You can call that,
you
yeah.
can go, yeah. I felt like a little bit of a cadence change. The finish was a little sloppy, and for me, the first direction was better. So,
Yeah,
but
he was.
Wow. I mean,
No
those
issue. Yep.
first turns, I mean, both set were great, but those first turns were phenomenal.
Yeah.
Now, on the same horse, so we're going to stay with 449. We are going to go to maneuver 5. And we're going to look
3,
at
4. Oh, this
this.
is the rollback.
well, and you can do a lot by finding a rule book and reading definition of a rollback. And a lot of people see Sean's horses that have done this forever, right? But they don't all do that. Wimpy's Little Step never roll back like this, and then turn and lope out. You know what I mean? It's not a sweep and hit the lope stride, like say Jared's horses that we just looked at.
We saw him.
Yep.
Correct.
and again, like rollback, like
Well, that's actually like a half turn and lope departure. That is different than a rollback.
so. Elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, you're talking about difficulty. That's like 3 steps. Well, you can just see it. Actually, it's almost a
This is
2-point
almost
turn.
like-
It's almost a 2-point turn. Because when this horse's haunch, see it have to leave to get back underneath itself, it should be a sweep one motion. That's what the rule book says. And it front end turns.
It's almost like he's like sucked back when he's supposed to be going forward, right?
Well, we kind of say turns around his belly instead of his hock. You know what I mean? He sort of like whoop, does a little in swap in there. But I mean, you still have to. You're going to give credit where credit is due on some of the horses. Approach is good, as stop is good, but I mean, by definition, for me, it's not a rollback. So it's the horse that does roll back properly has to get more.
Right. We're talking about this horse, this maneuver now. That's all we're talking about. There are times this rider will show you some rollbacks that are phenomenal. It didn't work on this horse this time.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
It's not about any of that. It's about what these are.
Yep.
Today.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, before we get into this last review, because there's actually a few maneuvers I want to look at with Jared's run, I do want to just say it was brought to my attention on that second question on how many scores that we keep in a 5 judges system. That was for the Show Stop and gift certificate. That was a $50 Show Stop and gift certificate. You guys, I just get so excited about our sponsors and these prizes. I just want to like keep giving them out because our sponsors are so generous. I just get a little excited. So sorry about that, but it looks like we do have some winners. And for that Show Stop in, it's going to be Emily on Facebook. So congratulations, Emily, for winning the $50 Show Stop in gift card. And for, let me pull this up. The next, Nikki, on the website, our next Rainer Stop Showtime, we are going to be covering the $150,000 shootout at the Run for a Million, literally in 2 weeks from today. So you are not going to want to miss that. So congratulations, Nikki, over on RainerStop.com. Make sure if you're on Rainer Stop, if you're new, that you sign up for our emails. You are not going to want to miss that. Now, before we go into this last one, I have another gallon from 100X Equine, but this is the Osteomax. Now, the Osteomax has been one of their newer products, and it has been phenomenal. Again, the testimonials that we continue to hear, we are so excited to partner with such brands like Holla, Showstop, and 100X that produce such amazing products for not only our riders, but our horses. So I have a gallon of Osteomax, and we are gonna give that. Let's do this one. Where was the first Derby held? What city was the first Derby? City and state was the first Derby held in? It's going way back. I have some gray hair, but you know who has the most gray hair, so you know who this question came from, right? So we love a little trivia. I mean, reining has been around for quite some time. It has evolved dramatically as far as horseflesh and riders. But one thing that hasn't evolved that we might talk about later is the judging system. It's the same judging system from 1985, right? So it's interesting as we continue to go through all of these maneuvers. You've heard it a few times say, well, we have half-point increments to work with. This is where we are, and we're going to talk about some of these topics in our post-show. You are not going to want to miss that. So as we get the winner for our next Derby, oh my gosh, we already got the winner, but I'm going to announce you in just a minute. Let's go ahead and bring up horse number 412, maneuver 3, please. So this is Jared on the first set of circles. And then we're going to actually get to his rollbacks because I think it's a great teaching opportunity.
His rollbacks are, great example in comparison.
Yep.
Yep. This is on the circle, right?
Correct.
Right circle, downward transition.
I figure this is a good slow-mo.
Yeah, well, there was
catch.
like a stumble in there and
like,
it made you think, oops, what happened?
Did he break gate?
Yeah. This is when it's really easy to be the judge at the gate. Or on the fence.
Or watching from here.
Right. And having slow-mo.
I was just going to say, who loves the slow-mo? If you are in the chat right now, who loves the slow-mo and the teaching opportunities? Like, whoa.
Right there. No. And he doesn't. But that's exactly the challenge that we're putting our officials through. Because we all saw it in live function like, oops, something happened. But what really happened? And you got to be, it's right there.
It was like, but he stayed. And I think because the rider kind of, made sure that that horse continued his forward.
But unlike the other horse that we evaluated, the stride was not interrupted. He sucks up the stride. That's what happens. And you got dirt moving, and you go,
Right.
Yeah.
now, was it good or was it bad? And in this case, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It's actually good. And
Very good.
Still good.
Yeah. Or I shouldn't say
Well,
very good, but
no,
good.
no, yes.
Yeah. Now let's go ahead and move to maneuver 5, staying with this horse, draw 412, just to kind of get us through a little bit. All right. So these are these rollbacks. Whew.
Yes.
Jody, take us through these rollbacks.
Right, and 2 hands in the snaffle bit, but I mean, you know, my approach is good. Horse holds the ground, and he says, go. One sweep out in lead.
I want to,
it's like,
yeah. This, we brought this up with Andrea and All Bets Are Off. We slow-mode this to show.
it's like, it's a sweep.
And
Right
one
there.
move.
It's
right
so
Ooh.
nice. Right back over his hock. It's like,
So,
it's a great rollback.
well, and then
The cow would not be gone.
there. No.
you would get to the head of that cow
Yep.
pretty quick.
Yep.
Some riders might, but
Yeah.
yeah. These are rollbacks.
I love it.
And I would now tell you, I mean, we talked about this on the last Showtime, but you watch this thing roll. One motion. Boom.
Oh,
And see how that whole stride, because a rollback, the hocks will push that horse on its way out. It's all one motion. It's not a break of motions. It's not different functions.
now one thing I just want to ask is,
Watch his hocks.
watch his head. Like, does that matter? Because in this way, he kind of, I feel like,
Watch his hocks. I want you to watch his hocks and push one motion.
Forward, out.
One motion.
So you were what?
just the head. I feel like on the first one, he maybe followed that nose around a little bit more. In this one, he kind of just rose up a little bit. Does that detract it all away from
It's not
the
going
maneuver?
to. Not for me. It's not going to. I mean, I don't feel like. I think it was good enough that this horse came right back over his hock. I mean,
Yep.
made a nice sweep, and maybe he got a little bit crooked at the end of the stop before he started the rollback. Maybe just a touch, but it's like
Oh, I
maybe
see.
leaning a little
Maybe
to the right there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but he still makes that recovery, and woof, and he's feeding him slack, and there's no
Strong.
over rotation,
Yeah.
none of that stuff. It's just, yeah,
Wow.
yep, very good.
Just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah, and you can
makes it easy,
yeah,
right? For
right? If you have a horse that can do that, I mean, it makes it real
Do it.
easy, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, you can be the greatest horse trader in the world, and if you don't have a car to drive that'll do that, it's not going to work.
I was actually speaking with a rookie exhibitor that's coming to the Run for a Million to run for that. And when we spoke about rollbacks on the Raining by the Bay Showtime, she was like, I had no idea that's really what they were looking for, and I've actually been implementing it before she's been going.
Good.
So it's so exciting
hope
to
it
hear
works.
stories
Yeah.
like that.
Yes, it's
so
way
very
fun.
exciting. All right, I'm going to go ahead and announce that last winner. Because it did come in pretty quick. But for the gallon of the 100X Equine Osteomax, again, thank you 100X Equine, as well as Hulla and Showstoppin for participating in our giveaways during our drags. We still have more, okay, everybody? So do not leave for our post show. In our post show, we get into a great conversation. Plus, we have 5 more amazing horses to see. But Meg, you are the winner, and the answer was Raleigh, North Carolina, was where the first Derby was held. So very exciting. Congratulations, Meg. Again, shoot us a DM or send an email over to support@rainerstop.com. And we are so excited that you joined us today over on the website. So I love that everybody's chiming in everywhere. We are getting all of your comments. Now, let's bring up that 100X Equine leaderboard and see where we're at. Jason holding strong. Right? 224, Casey, Sean, we've got a three-way
You got
tie.
three-way tie,
Yeah. And we'll talk about that a little bit
222s,
more.
Those 74s.
Great horses. All right. Chelsea, let's go ahead and welcome in our next horse.
Well, we're going to see draw 45. This is 387, Lost in the Trash. Cade McCutcheon will be riding. Lost in the Trash is sired by Gonna Trash Ya and out of Lost in Tinseltown.
One, two, three, four. Very good.
Very
One.
good. Yep, +1. Great start. I mean, it's good finish.
I mean, right on
Yep.
center.
Exactly.
Similar, but I'd give him the 1-2. And no penalty.
Why would
What
you
do you-
stay with the one?
I'm going to half him.
Okay.
I'm going to call it good just because I think there was a little more contact on that side. I mean, he's picking him up, helping him a little bit more than he did the first direction, and the finish wasn't as nice for me. So I still call it good. It's not very good, but I get it.
And I think when you see them side by side, it's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
easy
like
to see.
those are, like I said, there's only 2 spots for them, and this is really nice. Straight between the bridle reins.
Now, if a rider has to help steer a little bit, how does that affect? Or I guess
Willingly guided and dictated to completely with little or no apparent resistance. That's your answer. There was none of any of that, so it means it's good.
Yeah.
Steering is good. This is a steering control contest. You must steer.
Yeah, I mean, if you steer and they do what they're told, it's good. I mean,
Yep.
you know, he's helping a little bit right there. That's no
Good.
Yeah, good.
I mean, very clean, and it's not about speed, right?
No.
I mean,
Control.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
Controlled speed.
Yeah.
Controlled speed. It doesn't say how fast. It says show us a difference.
Right, and I think Cade's he's just not trying to run this thing off its feet. He's a fine horseman. He knows he's not loping by any stretch, but he's just doing a good job showing his horse.
Good.
Good,
wow, yeah,
really good.
makes it real easy for you to judge or to evaluate.
He is running hard.
Yep.
Yeah, very good or excellent, either or. But I'm very good, +1.
I mean, right between the bridle reins, like.
Oof.
There you go. 1 easy.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
I love that he like waited for it to
Yeah.
stand up.
I
like
mean,
that's
that thing did the same thing the judge did, only one-handed. You know what I mean? It was like,
what a great point, Jody. Yes, absolutely.
yeah,
So it makes it
excellent. Yeah, very
Very-
good or excellent, either or.
What are your thoughts there?
I
little
think
bit.
I think that horse got in, came out of the ground, backed a little bit on the crooked side, and I'm going to make maneuver deduction because of those. I'm not going to call it poor, but I'm just going to call it correct.
Right.
0.
We've got your scores in from the judges in the chair on 387, Lost in the Trash, and Cade McCutcheon, a 226.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. That's right.
We're now going to see draw 46. This is 217, Vintage Ebony, Brian Bell riding.
Now we're back into 2 hands. But 75s on a 3-year-old.
And
And needed it.
have room to
improve.
1, 2, 3, 4. I0.
0,
We
absolutely.
can talk about this one. He never gets crossed over, so he's having a hard time because he's violating correctness, but he's got other 3. And what a difference, plus half.
Your penalty, did you find one?
Well, that's where I was just going to go, and it had me thinking it.
Yeah.
Were you at a plus half too, Jody, on that one?
Yes. And I hit him with penalty half right at the end. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it was there. I hope it was there.
And now, I mean, hands together, at
Right.
least in a snaffle.
It's being willingly guided, so it's just another style or a different way of doing that part of it, where the difficulty is going to, the other pieces that are coming into our whole realm. But
Yep.
to show a willingly guided horse in a two-handed snaffle, when it's done well, is just as good as with one. Precision. Good.
Good.
What do you think?
Yes.
All right. Now, as you're watching, I still have 2 more giveaways in our post show. So please, we're going to give these to those that are commenting and tuning in the most. So during this final set, as well as our next review, those that comment in, our team is standing by and we're watching, and you're going to not want to miss out on these 2 prizes.
Brian's helping himself because he's finding dead
Yeah.
center on every single circle, right? I mean, his horse might not be as pretty a mover, as well balanced as some of these other ones, but I mean, he's making it easy to mark at a half because his pattern placement is
And the
plus 1.
precision,
Yeah.
So pattern placement is just so significant.
Sure.
The precision of.
Well,
Plus half.
and we
Yes.
had
Yes.
a question come in from quarter 805. It said, are the riders being judged on their horsemanship and technique during their runs? If not, why not?
It's about the horse.
Yeah.
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 Not about the rider.
So just share a little bit. Yeah.
The simple answer is no. You can't do one without the other. Without the horsemanship, it's a control game. So you must be in a, wow,
Yeah.
that's a big plus 1 there.
Very good.
So the answer is an advanced horseman can achieve this type of level of control. Those automatically go together. But we're not evaluating riding style.
How he sits or
no.
what he's wearing or whatever.
We're evaluating when he tells his horse to do something, the horse's response to it. And so, good.
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 Yeah. Backup save good. I think the horse maybe picked a foot up when he stopped there too, but backup was good.
We've got scores in for Vintage Ebony and Brian Bell, a 222 and 1/2.
Fours.
Now headed in, this is 356. RT Bentley is being shown by Miriam Stillo for Carter Smith of Prosper, Texas. RT Bentley is sired by Spook's Got a Whiz, and out of Shine, Playgirl Shine.
Right.
About as cute as a 0 as you can get.
Yep, it is.
Just
Just the correct.
Just correct, right?
A correct
Very
turn, yep.
correct.
Extra, yes. Four and 1 fell apart, and I 0 it again, but it teeter-totters me the other way.
So, yeah, it's a tweener. It's a low 0 for me. Yeah.
Yeah. And just the fact maybe moving a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
kind of lost cadence.
This is good.
What do you think?
Good,
Yeah.
yes.
Got smooth.
Good downward transition, yes.
I was just going to say, this one seems to be staying right between the reins.
Right.
And
And you know, we talk about we don't judge the horsemanship part of it, but you know, you can be a distraction if you're not a well-balanced rider also. You know, I mean, it's like you can, Miriam, she helps create a nice picture too. I mean,
Yeah.
she's balanced on her horse, and it's not what we're looking for, but
Plus
it's like,
enough. Yep.
good.
That's an easy one.
but it just makes the overall picture
Yes, exactly.
more,
It's
more
like
pleasing.
A general, the last part of that sentence is more pleasing to watch to an audience. That's credit earning.
So Brian is our official rule book reciter. He likes to, you know, he doesn't need a rule book. No, everyone does.
Yes.
Yes.
Everyone does.
It doesn't get read enough.
And,
That's, I think,
yeah.
Yes, good. I'm again with plus F.
No, but that's where your answers are. It's where they are.
yep.
If you're going to play the game, you got to know the rules first. Or you should.
And I guess in the comments right now, how many of you have read the rule book on the judges system? Be honest, right? That you've actually
Good.
gotten the rule book, right?
Plus
We
F.
actually have them here with us right now. How many of you have gotten the rule book and read the judging description? I'd love to know. I'm going to say I haven't. Be honest, right? Tree of trust here.
Good.
Good.
Cute
Yes.
cute rollback,
Absolutely, yep.
like we were talking about with like Jared's, like. Now we had talked about the width of this arena. How does the width of this arena affect stopping, or does it?
In this pattern, what?
Yeah, it just gives you tons and tons of room to stay anywhere that you want to. It's like the drags aren't as big an issue in a pin like this because you can find fresh ground everywhere. I mean, with that much
It
width.
gives you more room, is your answer. That's what it does.
Yep.
And it doesn't push the boundaries on the other rule infractions plus.
Good.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Plus F.
The scores are in for Miriam's ride on RT Bentley, a 220 and 1/2.
Bingo.
I agree.
There it
Yep.
is.
Yep.
Bingo.
Out of
Explain what your
65.
bingo.
Yeah.
65 horses, all 5 judges see mark the exact same thing. Means that you're not thinking about it. It's everybody's gonna, 5 judges, 50 judges are all gonna mark it the same way. That's what bingo is.
Now in the ring, this is 269, Casey O'Rourke, riding Mambo's Dream Girl for Peter Morgan. This horse is sired by Magnum Chick Dream and out of Mambo Sparkle.
Good. Plus half.
Another one where that tail's cut pretty high.
Yeah.
Four. Oh. Plus half.
Half,
Yeah.
half, yes. Plus half, penalty half.
Yeah, on that, like, just a note to self, on that last horse, you had 1 horse out of 65 that hit bingo. That's rare. So for the audience, having all judges' scores be the same is rare. It's supposed to be that way.
I think we should just dive into that a little bit more, because how often do we see the scores come up and we're like, oh, that judge doesn't know what they're talking about, or that one's a good one. Seeing that spread score. You've heard both of the gentlemen here today talking about, like, oh, I'll give it a half. I'm going to give that correct. Like, I'm going to go back and forth, and you can see how easily it can add up. So I know that you have some statistics that you can share as well.
Mm-hmm. These are correct so far. Wanting to be good.
Another really pretty picture.
What do you do? I 0.
I'm for good.
Yeah, and he plus a half, and there you go.
There's
See?
the start of a spread. Yep.
And we've been doing that the whole thing.
For 30 years.
Now, was she safe on that first change? Is that, yeah. Like,
That was the difference.
I meant that's what
That
I
was
was
the
wondering,
difference.
if that's what
He
separated
gave her
you
the
two.
benefit, and I didn't, and yep. You only have half points to work in. You got to make a choice. Way you go. So our job as officials is to be as consistent as we can. And good.
Good.
That's
Better.
to me,
Certainly
that was
better.
Yeah.
It certainly is better. Woof. Yeah.
Plus half.
Good.
Easy, good. We're seeing these questions come in. Keep them coming. We love these. These are great questions. Like this one that runs.
But when this
Again.
one, whoa, he
One.
Yes.
Very good.
Wow.
Much better rollback than the first one.
Yep.
Nice horse. Wow. Very
You
good.
could do it again.
Yeah.
Plus
I mean-
one.
Plus
The backup just.
Yep.
Solidified it.
Yep. And I have a feeling that this one is not ground temperamental, so might be a good one. You don't have to worry about the ground when you're
Right.
deciding on what horse should I
Yeah.
go to. Anyway.
The scores are in for Casey O'Rourke and Mambo's Dream Girl, a 221. We're now going to see draw 64. 447 MMB Voodoo's Gun will be shown by Sean Flairda. This horse is sired by Shiner's Voodoo Doctor and out of Silk Guns.
Three. Yo. Oh.
1-1.
Yep. Plus one, penalty one. One, two, three, four. Plus half, penalty one.
Yeah. Agreed. It's leaving a lot on the table.
It's like earning the credit, but
Yeah.
then
Yeah. Give it
taking
back.
it right
Yep.
back.
That's good
Yep.
work right there.
This is good so far.
I agree.
And again,
Yep.
one-handed.
Yep.
And yep.
If you could, we did get the question, just explain a little bit more about the difficulty, the change in difficulty from one-handed to two-handed. Maybe explain, if you could, a little bit more about that and how that goes into your judging.
That's not an easy, just black and white answer because of the one-handed is more difficult than two hands. That's a fact. So the rest of it just has to come into the equation. But riding one-handed is more difficult than riding two-handed. Anybody that rides a horse, and if you're not sure, borrow your friend's horse and go out and try it, and you'll
You'll find out real quick how one-handed is definitely a little bit tougher.
Yes.
Yes. And it's, and there are so many ways to ride with two hands. I mean, it's like some people are in two hands with a ton of inside bridle rein and helping and holding the horses straight, and have their hands spread very, very wide apart, and all those things are to the rider's advantage, not like this guy right here. If he's in one hand, a little loss of balance in the stop, and a penalty half, yes, in the trot. So I'm 0 penalty half. And there are people that can ride with two hands and do it very, very well. I mean, with we saw some good examples of those. So it's not that they can't mark. Good.
Yeah. Give them the plus half.
I mean, you can mark with the two hands, but you kind of tell on yourself, I guess, is what you're saying if you start.
You're there for a reason, and we had some of that in the Reining by the Bay with the black horse. Tom showed. It was like So anyway, that kind of stuff it's just very, very difficult to separate.
Yep.
And nope.
It falls apart.
I'd pour.
I'd pour.
I'd pour.
Minus
I
half.
agree.
Yep. That's correct. It would be like trying to drive your car from the back seat rather than the front seat. I'm using a dorky analogy, but it's a distinctive factual difference of difficulty. I don't know what other words to use. Riding one-handed is more difficult than riding two-handed, and then to display it in the level of control that we're asking our sport to do. So you just have to know these things in order to make distinct evaluations on how good or how poor something is.
It's almost like if you had a water skier that was doing it on two skis and doing a trick, and then you had a slalom skier and then them do the same trick. It's going to be more difficult for the single ski, right?
Sure.
So that's where the difficulty comes in. I know that question came up a few times amongst all of our channels. So if you need some more in depth on that, and this is actually a really good opportunity for me to tell you, Chelsea and I love, and we actually get a lot of our RSTV podcast recommendations, ideas from our audience. So if you ever have an idea that you want to know more about, or someone you would like to hear from, you can always shoot us a DM over on social media, Instagram or Facebook, and we will definitely try to get someone in the mix.
We've got scores in for Sean's ride on MMB Voodoo Gun, a 214.
Okay. All right. Now, we've got some good reviews, and I know that we've had some commenting come in. I have two amazing prizes to give away as we finish up our last drag and review. The first one is again going to be a $50 gift card to Show Stop and Pads, and I'm going to use that one for a trivia question, and then I'll tell you what our final prize is. So with that trivia question, we are going to go with how many, we talked about this, okay, so if you were paying attention, how many trot strides between a half-point penalty to a 2-point penalty, okay? How many strides, how many trot strides between a half-point penalty and a 2-point penalty, and you will win a $50 Show Stoppin' gift certificate. Now, you're gonna wanna stay with us during our post show. I do have a full pair. I mean, I don't have them here in studio, but you will be able to order a pair of Holla denim. So I have an actual full pair to give away. And those that comment over the next little bit, we're going to be watching you, and whoever is commenting the most is going to win. All right. So let's move on, and we are going to look at horse number 217, maneuver 1, please. So this is Brian. Just looking at the difference of his turnarounds, left to right. Or excuse me, yep, left to right. Left first, yep.
Oh, yeah. Took me a minute to remember.
Yeah, it's supposed to have crossover steps here, and there's not very many of them here. It's like, it's more of a, your rule book definition says you're supposed to have constant ground contact with one front foot at all times, right? I mean, it's like those crossover steps, and this horse has obviously got both feet up at the same time and
So
a hop.
He starts
Just to see
out
it.
good, and then see this? It's almost like a half gallop through it. So they never really cross over. They're both going.
So did that go to pour?
Yep. And then he comes back and says, look at here.
Yeah.
But
But-
does that?
Yep. Well, you're back to half point overspin because he's supposed to be here. So you and does give you a good turn.
Right. Yes, he does. And, that's one that I will tell you that chair angles mean a lot. Because, if we have this angle to look at it, we can clearly see that if you were down, maybe in 3, you might not take that penalty. I mean, it's like people can say, well, 2 guys get me the penalty, and it's like, well, just the angle that you're presented, and you don't have very much time to think. It's like,
You don't have barely any
Yep,
time to
yep.
think. It's amazing what you do.
I showed it to you in 3 different forms as far as where that distinctly comes in, but a lot of people, because you can see through that diagonal pair. When you can't, it doesn't matter. Here's his hip, here's his shoulder. They're not in a line. They have to be in a line. And that's where the boundary is between where a penalty happens and where it doesn't. Some of the ones that we saw before, they were in a line. So.
And just
Agreed.
real quick, just to elaborate a little bit more, chair, right here versus chair 5 or, wherever. Jody's referring to the judges' chairs, right? Because you can see them in the background here that we have 5 judges with a scribe placed within the arena. And so each judge, based upon it, to Brian's point, right? There's no hiding and reining.
right.
But I'm curious, do you guys, we talked about this, I think, on one of our first show times. What's your favorite chair to have?
It really doesn't make any difference to me. I mean, it's like I judge with some guys that always want chair 1, some that want the middle chair 2, that's easiest to make sure. I mean, I actually enjoy judging some from chairs 4 and 5 because it presents this angle, which
Very
is something
different.
that's different. So, yeah.
How about you?
5 was always my favorite. I love chair 5,
I love it. I love it.
which were right in between 4
Yep.
and 5 with the camera angle, but yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And I wonder, if we have any judges viewing with us today, let us know what chair is your favorite to have. I wonder if there's ever like a little draw straws, like who gets the short straw gets to pick first or something like that. I don't know. I'm just wondering. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to move on to, let's bring up, there's so much good things. Let's bring up draw 269, maneuver 3. This is Casey, and let's just look at this set of circles. Walking in quite a
Penalty.
okay.
Trot.
That's what you wanted to look at.
Yep.
That's what we wanted to look at. It was first just the length of time of the walk.
But it's not. That's degree of difficulty. This horse, boom,
So
trot.
2,
two.
diagonal parry. You can see the left hind and right front
And
go
then-
together
So-
and then lope.
So it's
Right
penalty,
there.
penalty half.
You
Trot.
got
You can
diagonal
see.
pair moving in the same, and then the next piece. It's just a validation of a trot.
And it was, in the slow-mo, and I give judges so much credit to be able to see that and make that decision. Once I saw it in slow-mo, then it was like, okay, there's one. I was watching the Hawks. 1,
Right.
2.
We know this, but this guy sitting right here in chair 2 would have had the hardest angle to see that because that horse's hocks are directly through the horse's body. All the other 4 chairs should have been able to see that. I'm not picking a side. We know it because of the amount of work that we used to do. But that's why there's no hiding in reining, because with all of those officials, it's going to get
Now,
caught.
just real quick, so
But it's
we
a
saw.
half-point penalty.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. So we saw 2 strides, And so that was a half point. So over 2, then that goes into what level penalty?
2.
2-point penalty. Okay, so you got 2 strides before you go from a half to a 2. I don't want any penalties, but.
I think you just told that. Didn't you ask that question?
Really, Brian? Really? I hope whoever is paying attention got it. I mean,
Sorry.
I was trying to give you guys some help, but
I was too. I was trying
Brian
to help
just
them all.
connected the dots for everybody. Okay. All right. Let's actually move into. I do want to see one thing on this same horse. Let's go to number. We're going to stay with 269, back number 269, but let's just go to maneuver 7. This was that last stop and back for KC2. Got both of you. Oh, well.
This is the right rollback.
We're going to see maneuver 6 and 7.
Yeah,
Well, and
which
real
that
quick,
would
while we've
be-
got this rundown, because we had some people comment in and ask this, can you define the difference between strides and steps in that?
This just gets better.
Just comes
Yeah.
right back,
Yeah.
Oh.
right?
Absolutely. And I mean, a loose rein, I mean, she wasn't pulling on that thing at all and just trotted backwards, right? It's
Yep.
like,
I feel like it was one of the prettier backups that we've seen today.
Absolutely.
Just came right back.
for sure.
Beautiful. Okay, let's go on to number 447. We are going to go maneuvers 1 and 2. So this is Sean, where we have credit earned, but then we have penalties.
Three, 4. Yep, and 1.
You see that whole horse's side, so you know it's penalty 1.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no question.
What if it goes over the side? What happens at that point? Like over
0.
Zero.
Yeah, penalty score
Because
0.
once he breaks this boundary, doesn't matter how much, it's off pattern.
it's off pattern.
So yeah, he's almost there. You got him. I mean, he's got half of a quarter of a body width. He still could have come to the left, but he's.
You see his hand.
Yeah.
He knows
Right.
it.
Whoa,
He
yeah.
knows it.
Back the other direction,
But
right?
but the difference, because there and there, this is a half, this is a 1, this is a 0.
Very good. Let us know in the comments. Do you like the stylus being able to see? I mean, how great that we're being able to like pinpoint exactly where these maneuver evaluations are coming down.
You're gonna do the other side.
I am, but you know what? We had a great question that I didn't want to. How is important? We got this from Shane, and he asked, "How important is it to you that the start of the turnaround, maybe the first quarter of the spin?" So, like, I guess what he's asking, and Shane, let me know if this isn't what you're asking, but how important is that start to like get going in the first turnaround?
I think we allow you to show your horse. I mean, I think a horse, if he's, obviously a horse degree of difficulty that can get cooking in one step, is going to get paid a great deal. But we saw some of those +1 or 1.5 turns, right? Sean's first horse, I mean, Cade's horse, whatever. But I think that, a horse that takes 5 steps to get started is going to be, there'll be maneuver reduction because the degree of difficulty is not there. So, but I certainly don't like to see horses leap into a spin either. I want them to step comfortably and get going.
And you almost saw that. It's a great comparison, and if we have time, we'll do this, but Sean versus Brian's, right?
Yes.
Those two turnarounds produce very different scores
Yep,
based
exactly.
upon cadence and getting going. So
Sure.
great question, Shane. And, just one last time, could we actually bring up 447? We'll just move on to maneuver 2.
Right, that's the left one. That's the one we just saw. Now he's going to turn to the right. But you got to remember, he just started right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now he's going there. Got it? And again, you're plus half or plus one and a penalty one. So it's that turn wasn't quite as strong as the left when you have a luxury in this pattern, because whatever you, as an official, you just marked plus one to the left, this one wasn't quite that strong.
Right.
So you got a plus half penalty one, but you could go plus one penalty one on both.
Yep. Absolutely.
It's crazy, it's just like interesting, I guess, that we can earn credit, yet the penalty pulls it away.
Yeah,
it's like a lot of work. I mean, great turnarounds, but then it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
Right, but these are cases where the penalty does not interrupt the quality of the maneuver.
Correct.
There are cases
100%.
that happens. The spins are the classical ones that rarely do they.
Right.
They can.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it. All right. Well, I am so excited. What a great group of horses that we got to see today. And before we get into our post show, where I do have another giveaway, and plus we're going to have a pretty interesting conversation. There is a lot of topics that came up during today's showtime as well as the competition. So we want to dive into a few of those, especially when we have such diverse and extensive experience to be able to share with us. But I do want to congratulate Renee on Facebook for winning that last show-stopping gift certificate for $50, and it is 2 strides.
Sorry. You're welcome, Renee.
Yeah. He's like, oh, didn't you ask that? Yeah, I did. All right. Well, congratulations, Renee. Excited for all of the winners today. We still have one more opportunity for you to win a actual full pair, a pair of holodenim jeans. We are very excited for those. But let's dive into our post show a little bit. Now, one thing that I think was very evident with today's competition was just 3-year-olds overall, the quality of them and the level of scoring, right? And I think it begs the question a little bit on diving in a little bit more about pressure. And as an industry, have we figured out what to do with our horses after 3 years old? And what does that mean, or what could that mean as the industry continues to evolve? Joe, do you want to answer that first?
Well, yeah, and I think we touched on it earlier. I think that the 3-year-olds, they as evidenced by today's show, we talked about it a little bit earlier. They're so big and they're so strong and they're so beautiful, and they're so much easier to train than the ones that we used to have to work with that weren't bred to do this job because we didn't have that pedigree. I mean, they weren't there. So anyway, but I will tell you that the pressure that we put on our 3-year-olds 30 years ago is no different than the pressure that gets put on them today. They're just easier to train than they were. A
little bit more capable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but I don't think you're ever going to eliminate that, because people love to watch 3-year-olds show. Trainers love to go show 3-year-olds. It's like, boy, I can't wait for people to see this one, right? So, I mean, it was a fun thing. I enjoyed it myself, but I would always train them to be non-pro horses, not for me. That was my goal, to finish with great non-pro horses, because that's what I did the best. So, anyway, I think that the time that we have for our later horses, we touched on that briefly too. 4-year-olds it's not a fair shake for a 4-year-old, because shown against 5, 6, and 7-year-old horses, we've seen some great 3-year-olds come back and try to compete in derbies and aged events, and they get their butts handed to them because they just can't handle that yet. They need that extra year to grow physically. So I think probably my solution would be to try to add more money into the 4-year-old events to because there's tons of 4-year-olds. I mean, there is. It's like so, and I think that we could probably save some horses and lengthen their lives a little bit, their show lives a little bit, if they would do something like that. So anyway, just a thought.
No, I think it's a really interesting perspective. When we moved up Derby horses to now include 7, right? So now you have a 7-year-old showing against a 4-year-old, and they both present different challenges, right?
Sure.
Young versus maybe being a little show savvy in the pen when you go in. I mean, they both do, but physically there is a distinct difference between the two.
Huge.
That I think is being noticed more and more.
Yeah, well, I mean, you
know?
think about it. Like, say you take your futurity colt that shows in December, and you go to the NRBC in April. He's only 4 months older than he was when he. I mean, it's like, what's the difference, right? It's like showing a 3-year-old. So, I think that maybe would be a direction that probably needs to be looked at a little bit more.
Yeah. No.
I think it's a fascinating question because I think there's two parts to that. What you're talking about, do the 4-year-olds now need attention in the industry? Yes, because they're not fully mature yet. Life after the futurity, the industry has now found it. We are there. Now what do we do to build better horses tomorrow? Which is, now what are we going to do? The 3-year-olds in the futurity will always be great. But now how can we build some things that make it better to build those 3-year-old horses? And then can we structure the steps for the 4, 5, 6, and 7-year-olds in a different format that lets the maturity come to the equation?
Yeah.
I would say yes. And in our time, everybody dreamt about it, life after the futurity. We need we're there. We have life after the futurity. Now it's time to go back and look at ourselves. And with you're talking about the first week of August. If you go back when we were in our 20s, the first week of August, we haven't even gotten way back. We're still riding in snaffle bits and bozels by July 4th. And so we're barely getting them back into one hand, getting ready for October maybe-ish. There was only 2 events in those days. So are you with me?
Yeah.
So we have a unique set of opportunities now that I think as an industry we ought to step back and reevaluate it. Could we put some different restrictions and not put so much money July and August and September of their 3-year-old year, reallocate some of those resources? Let's look at the 4-year-olds in its place and then look at the maturities, the 5, 6, and 7-year-olds, and away you go. And so
what do you think we need to do as an industry? I mean, I think that's like, what needs to happen? Is it breeders? Is it owners saying, hey, you know what, I'm not going to show, I want to hold this horse back? Like, as an industry, how could we create those opportunities? Because I think to both of your points, the horses are there, but how do we do that?
I think that's up to show management. I think to make an attractive enough package that people will want to do it. And like I said, I don't think the 4-year-old futurity itself is an answer that probably could have been a little better received from Mandy's standpoint. Remember, she tried to do that, and the horses that did show up as 4-year-olds that couldn't have been shown very much, and all the good ones were running in Oklahoma City, right? So I mean, they didn't. So I don't think that's the answer to say I can't have a 4-year-old that can't have been shown yet. I just think that show management, a show company, could put something together that would make it attractive enough that people would do it.
Well, and it's like, what if the money was not pulled, but maybe spread?
Sure.
From maybe just all 3-year-old to into the 4-year-old, how would that change the dynamics of the training program?
It's an allocation of resources. That's the answer. And then I would also tell you that we've got to start to adjust our officiating system to go with those resources as well, which is no different than judging a 2-handed class is different than judging a 1-handed class. So let's start. I know why all of that produced us where we are, which is good. Now let's take the next step, because those are different competition playing fields. So let's start to make them, because what everybody wants in competition is a fair playing field.
100%.
Also, everybody wants to win. So it's the reward of winning. And in our case, it's economic. So ease the pressure.
Yeah, I really like that. Let us know in the comments what some of your thoughts are on that. I mean, I think, hearing from both you, Jody, as well as Brian, I mean, it's very interesting perspectives from longevity within the industry. And we have so much still to grow. I mean, it's really amazing seeing what's happened just over the last several years. That can you imagine as we keep going, what that will look like. Now, again, we're watching those comments, you guys. So whoever's commenting the most might win a free pair of jeans from Hala. Now, one thing that I would like to bring up two more topics. The first one is the fact of the 5-way tie at 11th place. So we had a 5-way tie. And I know our first groupings, our first placings were distinct, right? Who was the winner? But then we got into this group. How do those ties overall affect, prize money and, confidence, all of the things when you see that? And from a judging perspective, how can we change that? Or can we?
Well, there's two parts to that. It's not, the judges only have the tools that they're handed. So until the regulatory or the governing body gives them more tools, because then they only have what they have to work in. And that's what we were talking about. Your choice is only one of two, so pick one. That's it. And then your job is to be consistent with it, because where you're doing a disservice to the competition is when you're inconsistent with that decision-making process. So the regulatory governing bodies got to advance, and we need more tools. That's point one. The other side of it is the depth of competition is now, you have top 15 horses. The money distribution in this fraternity was within 5 points. You physically can't separate 15 places with only 5 points. It's just not enough. So it's validating that. So now there's more to that equation, because pattern 8, a 7-maneuver pattern, will bunch horses up. It will, because you have one less maneuver. So again, these are all, they're mathematical functions, not professional functions.
It's not opinion. It's
correct.
It is
not
what it
emotional
is.
Ones. They are. That's all we got. So we're past time. We're past time. You got 65 horses, top 15 are marking 220s to 226. Yes, we're past time. This is my individual opinion. Ties dilute records. Period.
Yep. And when you look at like AQHA being the largest breed association, which most of our horses, not all, but most of our horses are AQHA, that all those records go back
They don't allow ties.
decades.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, other sports don't allow ties, right? Like,
Right.
So
You win the Super Bowl, you're first or you're second. That's it.
you don't
There is
tie, and it's not
there is no
co-champions
Right.
in the Super Bowl. Jody, what's your thoughts?
No, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think that given the fact that this set of 3-year-olds, especially the ones in two hands, all are capable of plussing a half on a single maneuver, and that's the only tool that we have. So you get 12 horses that plus a half on 7 maneuvers, and they all mark 222s. I mean, and because we don't have a way to separate those. We have some ways to do it, but it's just that it's time for a systems upgrade. Like you said, this system has been in place. We talked about it a few weeks ago. It's been in place for so long that the horses have changed so much that it needs to change with them. So, yeah.
Wow. And I mean, the judges, this is a tough job, and you guys are working with the tools that you have.
Yep.
I mean, that's all that you can do. Love to hear your thoughts on that in the chat. And also, if this is something that we could even dive in more on an RSTV episode, let us know if you'd like to dive into that more. Now, the last topic I'd like to bring up, there was so much that happened today, but you brought it up just right now. You said we had the top 15 that were a 220 to a 226.
220 and a half to 226, 5.5 point spread for 15 places. You can't mathematically separate 15 horses with 5 points.
We're moved on. We just talked about that. So, no, I want to move on to talking about what does that tell us. We have no fun here on Showtime, just so you know. What does that tell the rest of our fraternity riders that aren't at the horse show, right? So like, wow, I just watched these horses mark 74s and 75s, 3-year-olds, first time in the pen. Is that now the standard that we're setting, gearing up for our biggest event, the fraternity?
Right now it is.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
so how does that kind of play into the whole game? I have some perspective being an owner, but what are your thoughts on that? Okay, you got a 75. If you don't got a 75 horse,
Right. Well, when we had some discussion about that the last time we talked about it, I said I as a trainer would like to get more credit for my ability to make a decision on how good my horse is, right? So, and we had that discussion, and I said with NRHA that one of my pet peeves was that always making me subsidize a level 4 if I didn't have that kind of horse. So I leave it home.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't beat him. I mean, if I have a 218 horse, I can't get in the top 15 here. I'm not going home.
Yep.
I mean, if I don't have to enter that 4, we have Mandy allowed those
I was just going to
riders,
say,
to enter the levels you wanted to. That's where I think it allows the trainer to have an opinion and to talk to your client and say, okay, look, here's what we can do or here's what we can't do. So.
And well, Jody, before, I'd love to hear your perspective too, but Jody, coaching your non-pros,
Sure.
right? I mean, there's a lot of pressure when it's like you're going to a large event and
Sure.
you enter in everything and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm showing against a level 4 and this is my second year having an aged horse. I'm only a level 1 rider, but now I'm mentally in the level 4.
Right.
I mean,
and it's and from competing yourself how difficult that is to do.
Yes.
I mean, it's very hard. So, I mean, I think that it probably isn't done enough. But trainers, I mean, you have athletic trainers for people that set up long-term programs for them. An Olympic athlete's going to train for 4 years before before we're going to reach a peak. And I think probably that doesn't happen enough in the horse business from the standpoint of we're going to set and we're going to make a 2-year plan with this horse and here's what we're going to do with it. And if it works, we'll move on. And if it doesn't, why we don't. But I mean, that's a trainer, not the judge talking about it, right?
But that's why I asked that,
right.
yeah.
So anyway, it's very important, but it's like, to me, if I believe I'm wasting your money if I tell you that we need to go and I'm saying we don't have enough livestock. You know what I mean? And that isn't the answer just to go buy another one. You know what I mean? It's maybe we're riding what we can afford to ride. Maybe that's it. So then we have to figure out, okay, we're affiliate level showing, or we're going to go somewhere that we can
play and have fun.
Compete against what we have. So yeah.
Well, and I really, think that, and it showed in Amanda Brumley's entries at
Sure.
Reining by the Bay that you could enter the levels that you wanted.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
we saw that a lot with the assistant trainers being able to show more horses too in like the levels 1 and 2, which again helps keep the industry going.
Yeah, and I think the industry probably said that's what we want. At that horse show, they said we like this. Right?
The numbers showed,
Yeah.
right? The data showed.
Yeah.
Brian, your thoughts?
I think it's simple because he's 100% correct. You both are. And the point's this: is this where the industry is now? 74 or better is at the top end of our industry, and our 3-year-olds on up. The answer is yes. In our time, those were 73s. 70, if you had a 72 to 73, you had a good horse in our time. Now those are pretty ho-hummy. You got to have a 74 or better horse, and we will just watch them. So that's where we are as an industry. That's a good thing. I would tell you, and coming off this, I question, do we need 4 levels in all of our different aged events? I would actually tell you no. You might need 2, you might need 3. Does it necessarily mean 4? And again, my answer is going to be allocation of resources against what the industry is needing, and you support it and drive it, accordingly. But I would tell you by doing it, level 3 and 4 is about what horsepower they have in a given year. Well, guess what? You don't need to split the levels up. They can either stay home or come if they got the horsepower. They will. Do we have enough of them? Yes, we do. Who do we need to be is the ones coming up. So the levels 1s and 2s, I mean, Cade was a youth not too long ago.
A few years ago.
Now he's
Yeah.
Did we need 4 steps for him to get there, or did we need 2 or 3? I don't have the answer, but I'm just saying that that's what we keep doing is the same thing over and over, and we think we're doing something good, and I don't think so.
Yep. I think, how does that pun go, right? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and
Over and
expecting,
over and expecting
a different result.
The industry is telling us different than what we keep doing, so
Yeah.
let's look at it and address it. And does it have to be the same for the non-pros to the pros? No, it doesn't. We should address the non-pros for what they need, and we should address the pros for what they need. And maybe the non-pros need 5 divisions and the pros need 3. I don't know, but it's something.
What do the numbers tell us too, and what does the industry tell us based upon how it's evolving? Right, listening and making changes. And that's one thing here at Rainer Stop that Chelsea and I love to do is, we don't have answers all the time, but we are recognizing things and talking about it.
Sure.
Right, we have to talk about it to see how we can continue to evolve this amazing sport.
Absolutely.
You two gentlemen have dedicated so much of your life to, and continue to, and there's brand new people that are coming in. I mean, we're so excited just with a lot of the things that are happening with Run for a Million to Yellowstone to Last Cowboy, so many things that are bringing people into this industry, and we want to keep them here for a long time and keep it fun. Well,
look at the venues. Over the same lifetime, yours and mine, look at the advancement of the venues in the industry. We were talking last Showtime because they were showing outside. You guys thought that was like cool. We grew up doing that. So
it was unique for us,
right.
But you're like normal for us.
Yeah, pin sizes. We used to show in an 80 foot wide indoor pin was huge. We go have a reining in it, you know?
I mean, I remember watching the fraternity even in Oklahoma City where it is now, but in the early 90s, running circles, it was like we didn't use the pen. It was like bark, so just seeing that evolution now is so neat. When we have facilities like the World Equestrian Center with that arena, or Reining by the Bay, or now we're going to South Point.
Lazy E. I mean, when
Lazy
the Lazy E
E
was built, it was like,
that's a fun arena.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Tulsa
again,
coming up, that's another great one.
The entire industry keeps trying to grow. We got to keep growing too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have absolutely loved having you join with us today, and I hope that you loved it as much as we did. Now, I know that I have a pair of Holla denim jeans to give away to the person that commented the most, and I'm telling you, without a doubt, Elise Desmuke has blown us away. So my team has been sending me the messages. Elise, congratulations. Make sure that you send us a message or a DM and or an email at support@rainerstop.com, and we'll make sure to get that gift certificate to you. And thank you to Holla Denim. Again, if you're at the World Equestrian Center or near there, you can hop over to their retail store at Barn 2 and or online and pay attention to them. Follow them on social media because they have multiple horse shows they're going to be at. I know they're going to be at Run for a Million with us as well. Now, as we close up today, I'd first like to bring up our leaderboard, and let's just see where this competition ended. Now, our 100X leaderboard, 100X equine leaderboard, shows Cade McCutcheon right there at the top. I mean, his run was just like easy, plus, all the way through.
Yes.
75.5 kind of run, and it had 2 maneuvers that had a lot of cleanup. I mean,
there's still more.
Yes, oh my word.
Absolutely. And then Jason, Brian, Casey, and Sean. And then we, just a great showing of horses today. And congratulations to all the riders as well as owners. I can't say it enough. So thank you to the owners that continue to support your trainers and support this sport. We love that. I do want to thank both of you gentlemen today for your judges' insight. Brian, giving away answers on the giveaways. No, that was planned. I mean, it wasn't planned, but I was trying to give you guys the answer to that one. Jody, thank you so much,
You're very
both
welcome.
of you.
Thank you.
I just want to chime in quick on official results. Because our leaderboard only shows 5 slots, we had a tie at that 4 slot 3 ways. So we did have Casey O'Rourke, Tom McCutcheon, and Sean Flaherty coming in at that 222 spot, tied for 4th. That would take us 6 places down.
Thank you, Chelsea,
perfect.
for that.
Yes.
And let's give a hand real quick, emoji hand for Chelsea on the mic. She was on the mic actually at NARS. You guys, she flew home today so that we could be here with Showtime to you. So thank you so much, Chelsea, for catching that. And I just want to say thank you to our wonderful sponsors. So if you saw them today in our box, you also will receive links in our emails to them. These sponsors, we want to give them as much love as they give us because of them, we were able to offer this free today. And you guys, we are in a full studio. We have a full production team here, and we are so excited to be able to bring this to you absolutely free. So I want to again call out 100X Equine, Blue Collar Horse Company, Show Stoppin' Pads, Holla Denim, Secret Hills Ranch. I mean, and who doesn't love some amazing giveaways that we had today? So thank you and congratulations to our giveaway winners. Now, I also want to thank you and congratulate what sounds like an absolutely amazing show to the ownership group for the North American Reining Stakes. An absolutely beautiful show, great facility, exciting to see this organization continue to grow. It's one of the top 10 shows for NRHA. They gave away almost $779,000 at this horse show. So no small feat. And we saw many of the main winners today for the futurity. Now, I do want to say, how about our videography? We're receiving this live feed from the horse show from Brian Morgan at National Sports Broadcasting and his team. Thank you so much for being able to provide us with that so we could do the instant replay. And I just want to thank you guys, all of our viewers that came in today. And I know that we have a great diverse crowd, not only globally, but also experience level, from the brand new spectator to some of our most advanced riders. This is an opportunity for you to learn, advance, and engage with others that share the love of the sport. Now, as you saw, as one of our questions for a giveaway was our next showtime. We are so excited to be able to cover the $150,000 open shootout that is going to be held at the Run for a Million. So that Rainer Stop Showtime will be held on August 22nd. So mark your calendar, 5 p.m. August 22nd. You will be able to join us for that. And I can tell you, with some of the horses and riders that I've been seeing schedule for that or enter for that, it is going to be some amazing reining. And plus, it's Vegas. How fun. Now, Chelsea and I will be at the Run for a Million. We have a Rainer Stop booth. We're going to have some fun there. So if you are going, make sure you come by, see us, and stop us if you see us on the concourse. We would love to meet you and interact with you. And last but not least, till next time.
Yes, indeed.
Which is just a couple of weeks away. So thank you again to our team here, production team, and we wish you all a good night.